My name is David B. Rivera. I am the acting chairman for the CHamoru Land Trust Commission. And before we start, may we please rise just to say our in person. Okay, everybody would like to follow. So, in phrase, inimastat kilo in corazón, no? Inimastat kilo in corazón, no? Tenemos figo y national who first in my salud para país, Kelly, y Bengi, cultura y lenguaje, y aire y Hanu, anitano CHamoru, y el shaku directo, y nazustaka. Este huwa fitma y lo Biblias, y banderahu, y bandera, waman. Daw kulo na sa Guzmansi. The time now is 1:06 p.m. and I call this meeting to order. This is a succession meeting for the CHamoru Land Trust Commission from our March 18, 2024. January 18, 2024. I apologize. Public notices were published in the One Daily Post for the notice in January 11 and January 16. And notices were also posted online on the CHamoru Land Trust Commission Facebook page, Google Meet, joining info, google.com. This meeting is being live streamed on the CHamoru Land Trust Commission Facebook page and on YouTube. Live audio recordings are made possible by our partners at the KGTF. Okay, so last week we ended up on number 8, public comments. So today we're following through and we'll proceed and ask our director to kind of give us a briefing on
thank you, Mr. Chair. Just before the recess at the meeting that we had, this is the continuance of the meeting on January 18. The board made about 3 motions. The motions were made to table issues that were raised during public comments. And now, this involves the open government law, and it's important to note that these motions were approved. They are not legally valid. All issues that you vote on must be listed on the agenda specifically. So while we can listen and take account of things that are said during public comments, they're not agenda items that you can vote or make motions to vote on. Open government law says that it must be advertised. Okay, so specifically these were the motions to table any decision to further investigation and research on issues concerning Mrs. Anita A. Cruz, Mrs. Bernice Tadella, and Mr. John Quintanilla. These were, because they weren't on the agenda, they were considered violations of open government law. So those aren't valid, and I recommend that these issues, if you want to vote on them, basically you voted to table them, that it be placed on the agenda of the meeting coming up on February 15th, the regular meeting. But that'll be at your pleasure to decide that. And the reason sometimes these things occur when we start making errors or in the way we conduct the meetings is that the duration of the board meetings are real lengthy. You come in for about 8 hours, but the staff has been in for 4 hours prior to that, at 8 in the morning to get out 8 at night. And so I've seen that towards the end of some of the meetings, sometimes people are frustrated and tempers tend to flare. We do deal with people that many times are frustrated, and the staff working them do become frustrated. But after putting on 12 hours of work and dealing with that, I can understand why their tempers would flare towards the end of the meeting, which is, I've seen it a couple of times. So I strongly recommend that we start shortening the meetings prior to that. The other reason for that too is that when they work overtime, I don't, and I'm not authorized by law, I don't have it in the budget for CLTC to pay overtime. So I give them compensatory time off, that's 1.5 for every hour that they work. And I always allow them to exhaust their leave so that they don't accumulate too much. And right now, we operate a skeleton crew. Today, you see many of the staff are off to make sure that they exhaust their CTO. And so if we're required to do work, a lot of that work falls on the back of just a handful of people. I reminded you at the last meeting that other than the land agents, the only admin staff I have are PC4 and PC1, and that's it. I don't have any secretaries, I don't have any admin staff, accounting staff, we do it all. The land agents, they do the research as far as for the loan guarantees, the plotting of properties and such. They do the investigations. But right now, we're in the middle of closing out the financial audit for FY22, and we're opening up the financial audit for FY23. And we're also gonna receive the budget call to prepare a budget for FY25. And that's without any admin staff. So hopefully we're interviewing, we're hoping to pick some people up. But just to let you know, the pressure on the staff here. You know, right now, we have very few people here in the office. And that's why it tempers at flare, because the pressure's on, especially with this agency. You know, we deal with people that are in need. And I understand with the loan guarantees, when we have to get people their loans so they could repair their homes and put a roof over their heads. I understood why we went for 8 hours or more during that one day with the meeting. But I'd like to remind you, the staff are here throughout the morning preparing for that. So they're here for 12 hours, sometimes more. So I'd like you to take that into consideration when we do have these meetings and when we set up the agenda. To think about those things prior. Because, you know, it becomes, I don't think it should be a practical part of the meeting where somebody like myself would have to stand up and calm down the tempers that will start to rise. So far we've been able to handle that, and hopefully it doesn't continue. So I'm just asking you to consider that. If we are able to hire the staff that you approved at the other meeting, I believe, well, that was just this meeting too, right? Just an extension of that. Once we get them in, then I'll have more flexibility. So, I strongly recommend that we keep the meetings short if possible, so I don't have to get involved with allowing people to take off on comp time. Because for every hour here, I have to give them an hour plus half, plus 1.5. So I lose them, I lose their productivity. Okay, so, yeah, moving forward, so those three motions are not valid. If you want, let me know, and I'll place them on the agenda for the next meeting coming up.
Okay, so that's Ms. Anita Cruz?
Yes, Ms. Anita Cruz, Ms. Bernice Tudela, and Mr. John Quintanilla. Is there another one? That's it?
Ms. Nelson.
Bernice Tudela, Nelson, sorry. Forgot the last name.
Okay, do we need a motion to?
No, I'm just letting you know they're invalid. So then the thing is, we'll do that next time. We'll just simply take it off of the motions that have been approved.
Okay, and then we'll add it to the February.
Yes, if you want, would you like that to be added on?
Yes, please.
Okay, so while you can listen and discuss things during public comment, I advise you not to make any motions at that point, unless it's on the agenda.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Just for the record, I like to take roll call. I did not take roll call
Okay.
from the beginning. So, Ms. Arlene Bernardo, Commissioner Bernardo, and Commissioner Gavido.
Thank you.
And myself, just for the record. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, another part is we did send some items to legal, the RFP for the raceway track, and also a sponsorship document that legal was supposed to review, but unexpected circumstances occurred, and Attorney Gumatalto passed away. I have not received any word from the Attorney General's office, who has been assigned to the CHamoru Land Trust Commission for legal counsel. And I've not been informed of whether Attorney Gumatalto, how much work he's done on it. My understanding is I was supposed to have met him on Friday to go over it, but that was the day he passed away. So I did not get access to that, to those materials. So, seeing that we don't have legal counsel, Based on that, I don't think we should take any action on any issues that were forwarded to legal counsel for their review. And I would recommend that that be tabled until the next meeting, the regular meeting on February 15th.
Okay, good copy. So for February 15, and that would be the discussion between the sponsorship and the offer from Guam Raceway Federation.
Yes, the license, the RFP, the license submitted by the Guam Raceway Federation and the sponsorship. That we place on the agenda. It's all about the same property, but it's just, I guess, you could say, 3 different ways of trying to get it open if possible. One would be the RFP is to place the property out for commercial use. The sponsorship is to schedule activities by events. It's kind of like an event, if you think of a wedding or a wedding planner sets up a wedding down at the Hilton or something, they rent a place for the event, and after the event, well, it's to occur, they go and set up, clean up, do everything. And after it's done, they pull out. That's a sponsorship. And then the license, of course, submitted by the Raceway Federation is for a 2-year license, a short-term one, specifically stating that they will not be any grading, anything of that sort. They're just going to put on the events for that period of time. So those are three options for the use of that property.
And the RFP would be, is the RFP ready?
It's with legal.
Okay, so that's,
Yeah, it's ready as far as it was sent to legal for the review.
okay.
But we have not received a response because, like I said, Attorney Gumatalto passed away.
Understand. And that's to take into consideration the sponsorship and the offer.
All 3.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Any comments from the commissioner or any questions?
No, I understand what's up.
Okay. I understand, Director, that the Raceway Group is here.
Yes,
Yeah, so.
it's up to you if you like that.
Are you here to present something or just for us to hear? Because for legal, right, you guys have to meet with our legal, so. we'll
Right.
give them a few minutes
To speak, I guess.
Well,
That's your call.
According to my notes here, we went ahead and we scheduled this resumption because of the null and void leases that was on the agenda. So you want to pick up from there?
from the now, that's G,
Yes.
okay. All right, so understanding that we're at G and the Guam Raceway is here, so, and yes, I agree, let's run with the now and void and then circle back to the group. So you wanna, this now and void basically is from the report from the Attorney General, real brief. Right, this is the 104 void voidables.
Yes.
Okay, so I know that back in March of 2022, I know that the 2 staffs, Ms. Lydia and Ms. Johanna, have provided an update, and the update was basically the same.
Yeah.
No, right? So if there's no changes on the update, then generally it's the same. And I believe what we had back then was that there was 25 leases that were adjudicated. There was 79 leases that were unresolved, and the total case is 104. So if there's no changes, no major changes there, then we'll just continue again with the process, understanding that we have a shortage of staff.
Yeah.
And again, 25 adjudicated, 79 unresolved from the 104. Do you have any comments, Commissioner Guerrero? And then again, that report is on page, right after the listing.
Well, the questions I have, I think we need to have legal counsel present in order to work with it.
Yes.
I'll try to get legal, the AG's office to sign or somebody for the next meeting. I mean, it was kind of close. I understand that he just passed away Friday. And then legal did assign somebody for the ancestral lands yesterday for public hearing. but it was the actual Chief Deputy Attorney General who came to that public hearing with me to represent Ancestral Lands. That was before, because that's the change, or to amend the Enabling Act for the Ancestral Lands Commission. And I asked him if he would assign someone here, and he said, you know, it was kind of tight at the time. They're overextended. So I understood that, but the feedback I got, you can see now, is no one's gonna show up. So I had a strong feeling this would occur. So I'll try to see if we can get somebody assigned for the next meeting. And also to look at the documents, because the person I understand who may be taking over, Mr. Gumatauto, has been on island for 3 weeks. Yes, he's a new attorney, an AAG or at the Attorney General's office.
Okay, understood. Okay, thank you. Anything else, commissioners?
Mr. A says he has something to add to the Nolan words.
Okay, real brief, sir.
Yeah, just a brief, short brief. The last meeting, there was a motion made to void 4 of the lessees of the 5, non-void, and to keep 1, remain 1, but, and that motion was approved and carried, because the 5 individuals that actually, that was, the first 5 of the name was actually never on the agenda. There shouldn't be a motion in that, so we can, if we can schedule it up for February 15 next meeting, and then we can announce the name of those 5s, and then we can vote on that. That's my comment.
Okay, got it. That's in addition to Ms. Anita.
Yes, I guess.
Right, okay.
We can just.
All right.
that's the only way.
For all these.
The Nolan way.
Oh, I just had,
Yeah, just in case.
so all of them.
Yeah, because they made a motion in that. So.
Okay.
So those 5 are ready for action?
That was, yeah, there was a motion that to terminate 4 of the 5, but we can't take any action until we actually put it in.
We just redo the
The
motion.
motion, yeah.
Okay. And that was to terminate the lease.
Yeah.
Before, yeah, or, no, not least, they're on an application stage,
I see.
yeah.
That's based on 75A?
That's 75.
Oh,
And
75.
out of the 5, there was one that actually had a lease.
Based on
five.
75?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Good call.
okay.
Thank you, sir. Okay, moving right along. Anything else, commissioners?
I'd like to make a motion we don't have any good comments.
Yeah.
We hear a second?
Adjourn or recess?
The month is already,
Yeah, well, we have a, you know, I mean, if you're gonna recess, it's up to you, but we have, according to law, our next meeting will be the 15th of February. That's what, a couple of weeks from now?
Correct, the third Thursday of
Thursday, yes.
February, so that's about 3 weeks.
Yeah. So
2 weeks.
the 15th, about 2 weeks. 15 days from today.
I see. I know that we have people in the audience here, so do we, what motion do we need to hear there?
Also go to public comments again.
You can move that up on the agenda if you have an emotion to move it up to the
But then
agenda.
based on this, the raceway is item C,
Yeah, no action, just
on old business.
discussion, brief discussion.
The,
They're on old
I didn't
business,
see old business.
Charlie, or C. Do we need to make a motion on that one, Director?
Yeah, because you have the null and void, you could just, yeah, make a motion to revisit that if you want. The representatives are here.
Do I hear a motion just for, or objection?
well, first, cancel out my motion.
Yeah.
You don't second it.
I didn't second it.
Okay.
So it was never a second.
Motion not carried.
Okay, so motion not carried.
Yeah.
So now you can have,
Okay, so,
In light of, Mr. Chairman, in light of the Raceway Federation being present, I have a feeling that they want to say something at this particular time of day. So I would be willing to hear them out.
thank you, Commissioner. Do we need to second that motion or?
I can second it.
Okay,
oh, we can't take action.
You
okay.
can't take action, but you could listen.
Okay, so anybody, gentlemen,
Anyone wants-
somebody want to come up and group brief, so. That's because we don't have legal counsel and we're not lawyers, so.
Thank you. Commissioner Garrido, Commissioner Guevara, Commissioner Rivera, thank you for your time. Director Birch, thank you for your time. We just want to comment on the different solutions that were proffered at the last meeting. And although the GRF is open to any type of solution that will get the racers off the private property or trespassing and onto a organized raceway, we're very willing to hear. We talked a little bit about the different solutions, specifically the sponsorship. One of the challenges that we feel with the sponsorship is for that facility, it requires a lot of maintenance. If you have been up there recently, you can see the vandalism that's taking place, the illegal dumping that's taking place, and the fact that the grounds, the jungle is overgrown. So on a sponsorship basis, the commissioner should consider what it would take, just the work and the money it would take to get the facility in shape to host a venue, right? So if, for example, we wanted to put on smoking rooms, if we went in there today, how much money and both in cash outlays or volunteer work would have to go into preparing that facility to host the smoking rooms? The cost would just be unreasonable. It would be hard to overcome. I would imagine that any other, organization that would want to perform a sponsorship would have the same challenges that we would if it's not consistently maintained. So if the commissioners were to entertain a sponsorship type of solution, it would need to be something longer term where the facility is constantly being maintained. So that's just one comment. On the licensing side, I know that there's reference to needing legal counsel present, but these have already, you've authorized licenses for 2 other organizations already, and part of the unsolicited proposal that we proffered is something similar to what you've already legally authorized. So, please keep that into consideration as well. And then in reference to the RFP, is the RFP specifically for a raceway or is it for any commercial use?
I haven't seen the RFP, so.
The RFP was given to legal for review. Same way with sponsorship and the licensing.
I think just,
Unfortunately, he passed away before our meeting and he never gave us any input from the initial January meeting.
And if you recall back in March of 2022, remember you guys came and did a presentation, so we requested for your legal to meet with the legal at that time from March. So do you have an update from that basic communication from March?
I think the current legal counsel at the time had mentioned that there's no other legal solution except an RFP, but we've, on the last meeting, several other solutions were proffered, sponsorship, we referred to licensing. I think there was a clarification from one of the individuals present, one of the staff that was incorrect as well, that was clarified as well. So the only reason why we bring up the RFP is just the commissioners should consider the fact that if it's an RFP to operate a raceway, we can understand that the GRF being able to participate in that RFP. But if it's an RFP for any kind of commercial use, the GRF would be at a disadvantage because there is no revenue stream in racing. In fact, for the most part, we rely heavily on volunteers and donations in order for the racing to continue. So sponsorships, we don't have a big enough revenue to, even submit a response to an RFP if it wasn't specifically for a raceway. If it was,
The biggest revenue source from a event standpoint is the gate, the ticketing. And traditionally, every year that goes just to pay the insurance for the event. So it's not a money-making event at all. It's, it's a public event for all the racers, and it's a sports tourism event because we bring in all the racers from Japan.
Okay, so that's a good point. So the last 40 years, you guys have operated smoking grills. You guys have most likely participated back then when we didn't have the white here, the gate, right?
Yes.
So that 40 years, and you guys are successful capitalist businessmen. Was it profitable in the last 40 years?
no.
We generally work on a break-even basis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
so,
right.
I mean,
So-
it's, as a sponsor, we've sponsored it several times, and so has many other companies in the community. American President Lines,
Yeah.
their
Very
sponsorship,
good, yeah.
they ship all the cars in, for the competitors.
So it's a break-even, most
Yeah,
likely.
right.
And you guys have been in this business for 40 years. And most likely you would have did your analysis in Asia and the United States, right, in racing events.
Well, just Guam, the only one we have experience.
Yeah, I understand,
The
yeah.
racers are international, they come
Yeah.
from
Right,
Japan
yeah.
and from the US.
So have you guys, based on your research, checked how do the racing organization operate in the States or Asia? Is it provided by the public? Is it a public function? Like, we understand that we'll support Department of Education for the football, for the children, baseball, soccer. But racing is a different category.
It's usually clubs, most of
Yeah.
the racers are in clubs, so it's a motorcycle club,
Right, yeah.
off-roaders club.
Yeah.
So it's all club membership, the
Understand.
drag racing club.
So we're both in the heavy equipment business. I'm right next door to you. We have the ARF trucks, the $1 million machine, purpose to firefighting trucks. So what I'm saying is that this kind of activity, right? Of course, when you have a racing track to operate, of course you generate money when you start selling the motorcycles, tires, parts, spark plug, oil, correct? Right? Generally, that's the economic engine for the racing activity, other than the apparel, the equipment. How do we get the equipment? There's only a certain amount of group that sells Ford, Chevy, Honda, Kawasaki. So what I'm saying is that we can say that it's not a profitable event, but economically, we can almost say that the more you use the machine throughout the year, you're going to wear out the machine, correct? We have to maintain the machine, we have to buy all of the above. So,
And the same thing can be said about any sports equipment apparel company that
Yes.
provides soccer balls or footballs or basketballs to any of
Right.
these organizations. It's the same thing.
yeah, it's just that the cost is kind of, if you're going to compare a four-wheeler, right, to a basketball short and a ball, of course, the economic balance and expenses are far different. Having a motorcycle, for example, that has the high performance machine, tires, knobbies, or the dragsters here from our group, right? A generic car to beef it up. Lucky if you can get that machine to do an ET at, we'll say 10 seconds in a quarter or 15 seconds in a quarter. You're just gonna put a $200 beef machine to put it in the machine to make that elapsed time, right? You're gonna have to put a little bit more dollars in it or on the motorcycle. So my point is that, again, please understand that our mission, the CHamoru Land Trust, is housing and agriculture. Just to keep that in mind. Are we against the racing? No.
I understand.
So That's just my take on it, and I like to hear from the commissioners. So.
If you want a more definite idea of what's in the RFP, I suggest you address the questions to our acting director.
I think we have written
He's basically the author for the RFP.
we have written a letter for clarification, which I believe has been on the 24th of January, asking for clarification on, license versus RFP versus unsolicited proposal, what the CLTC is authorized to act upon, what they're not, just to give us guidance, so we don't waste our time or your time on trying to figure out a way forward. So,
What was supposed to be last month, we had or last couple of weeks, right? We had your offer, and we had the director's,
yes.
yeah.
I know that the lack of legal counsel has kind of put a damper on things for right now, but hopefully another counsel will be assigned and they can take a look at our
Yes.
request for clarification.
Yeah, all three were submitted to legal for review. The sponsorship was a way to move things forward because the RFP, we know it's gonna take time.
Right.
I mean, once it's put out to bid, you're talking about a month or two before we get all the bids in. And of course, the license thing, that now, can be considered, and we've submitted that too. So the sponsorship proposal was a way to get around this.
Right.
Of course, it doesn't give anybody everything they want. And it opens it up to anyone coming in who wants to sponsor an event
Sure.
out there. But you're correct, it doesn't take care of the maintenance of the raceway track itself.
Well, and we were, we had a meeting after that meeting, and basically went through the cost it would require to prepare the facility for our smoking wheels. And it would probably be close to $100,000 just getting it ready for an event that way. And if it's not something that we could continue to do and continue to maintain, then, it'd have to be done again the next time there was an event. So that's the challenge with the sponsorship, is we have to have access to the property to do ongoing maintenance and cleanup, so.
Your projection on smoking rules is July? Is it July?
Well, it was supposed to happen in April.
Okay.
That's traditionally happens in April. We've been trying to communicate with the other racers, international racers, if there would be any other possibilities. I don't think we've heard back on.
Well, that's why I pushed for the sponsorship, to see if we can meet that deadline, but we have a problem now with legal.
Yes, understand.
And I was hoping to have that ready for tonight. But I guess it's not meant to be, so
Right.
I know if we get it out of the next meeting, would it still be on time for smoking wheels, or you're gonna have to postpone that this year and come up with another event?
Well, I don't know, what do you guys think?
We probably propose the local, a local event,
Smaller,
a
smaller
smaller,
version of-
scaled down version without international racers.
at least get the people here.
Get the
who
people
all
back in the
geared
track,
up for it.
yeah.
Well, the sponsorship is the quickest way to get from point A to point B.
Yes.
So, and it has the least legal ramifications to fall upon it that would prevent us from coming together. So I understand that you prefer the license, but the license will take a while.
Yeah, right, understand.
And so would the RFP. And to your question, me personally, I have no knowledge of of the RFP going out on an open RFP. It was, like I said, from my own knowledge, it was to try and reopen the track.
That's excellent. That's good news. And I think we're open to any kind of interim solution.
Yeah, he made that clear
To
last
allow,
time.
to allow us to get the racers off
And
the
that was
road.
the sponsorship.
Yeah.
And I had already prepared, other than what I presented that night to the board, the proposal itself, I actually prepared the template, and that was with legal. So if I can get them to the AG's office to review it, or have somebody review it and get back to us and get back to me, so I can bring it here, I'll do that.
Maybe we can get on the agenda for the next meeting, and hopefully
Yes.
legal has the opportunity to review it between now and then.
Yes, a new legal advisor or counsel will be assigned to us. That's why I recommended that we table that and place it on the agenda. And hopefully I'll work on that with legal. I'll go up to the AG's office again and see if they have a replacement. I've been told that they did bring one person in, but this does deal with land, but it deals with something other than loan guarantees and all that, just
Right.
sponsorship to set up a program that, where we can get these activities going again. As I know, we've all seen it, and what concerns me is the report in the PDN and the post about the accident that occurred where that young Navy sailor was doing almost 100 miles an hour, his lights off,
Yeah.
and killed an unfortunate woman and harmed her family. I'm afraid of those things continuing on roadways, and that's why the drag strip initially was opened up, is to remove that off of the roads of our island and give these people a place to assert their energy. So we do see that happening out there. And I am aware, I've had videos of events, drifting and such, illegal occurring down at the Paseo de Sasana. The deputy director of Parks and Rec sent me a video of that. And I'm told that as soon as the police arrive, they simply remove it, and they head down to other areas like Malolo, and they just occur wherever they can.
I think a sponsorship would be a good interim solution. We were open to that.
Yeah,
But I guess we're asking if it's a sponsorship, if it can have more, a longer term so that we can maintain the property.
it could be, it'll be up to the board to discern the duration.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was just trying to.
Well, that
find
door
the-
is not closed.
right.
But in order, we need legal to open the door to begin with.
And I don't have, but this occurred 2 Fridays ago, occurs every Friday night. This is what's going on with no guidance, no supervision, and when the police arrive, they take off. This is a regular occurrence. So these are sent to me by people out there. And all it takes is for somebody standing in the middle of drifting to get hit by a car and get killed, so. These are activities I like to see prevented by having it under some kind of control.
I'd like to add something to that. And we're all from this island. I just mentioned to Mr. Lewinsky, I grew up with the father, and we do that back then, even from Christmas, Thanksgiving. It happens around the villages, with or without the track. And if you don't agree, then you can witness. If you go to the streets and you can see the skid marks that are there. You can tell a drag skid mark, and you can analyze a crib skid mark.
Yeah.
But it happens, even when the strip was open.
Sure, but I
Right, we
think,
can
I
say
think we
no.
can all agree that
Yeah.
with the organized event, it would happen less.
Yes, but it still happens.
Sure.
And then with all the accidents with the head-on collision, if you take the data of how many accidents occurred, and we say how many of them are racers. So even now, even if you drive now at Marine Drive between 567, 789, 456, do you really think the commuters out there follow that 35 miles an hour? Really? And we blame the drag strip.
Mr.
If
Jones,
you
are
follow,
you,
like that's,
are you gonna be running your Chevy Cobra?
No.
Why not?
Actually, last time we ran an
That's one
electric.
of the 5 fastest cars in the island right now, especially as stop.
Yeah, we might, if we ever get open, we'll see.
so that's what we're saying,
The
right?
last one we ran was an electric vehicle.
Or you're gonna run that vehicle over at Honda,
Yeah,
the
NSX.
$200,000.
NSX. Been out there a couple times.
I'd like to show this to, there's 620 acres that we served back 30 years ago. That's for the drag strip. We set that aside when we were at Senator Senator Ed Regis's. And that's not too far from where you're at, or at the Cross Island. 620 acres for Speedway.
Oh, yeah, we're familiar with this.
Right, yeah. So I remember that when we were having this conversation that was that the motocross, is that the reason why you couldn't really have a real motocross it's generally flat. That one has the topography of sloping topography from 15 to 35 degrees.
That would work well for a motocross track.
Correct, yeah.
But it wouldn't work very well for a drag strip.
Understand. So what I'm saying is that you guys don't need the 1 million acres or 1 million square meter. You don't need the 250 acres because most of the drag strip don't, we already computed the size of the drift, the drag, and the motocross, about 40 acres. We did the computation. So for the drag and the drift, maybe 15 acres. The motocross is the bulk of the occupancy on that property,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So,
But that entire facility is already developed, Commissioner Herrera. So,
Right.
you know, if we move, if the proposal is to move to this, just think about how much money is gonna go into that facility.
yeah, that's a tax break money, 8 million.
It is,
Right.
but it's
Yeah.
already done. So
Correct.
it'd have to be all done again for that piece of property.
Well, you guys are the successful businessmen, maybe you can get the cash flow going to purchase private property to do what you guys envision. Because again, our function is for residential and agriculture.
Yeah, no, we're aware of that.
Yeah. And see here, 620 acres for, and it can still be developed.
How many acres is the football site?
I don't know.
How many acres is the Hells Angels site?
I don't know.
Neither of those are agriculture or residential,
Yeah.
and it was still licensed by the
Yeah,
commission.
but it's not a drag strip.
It's not, but it's still, it promotes safety, a safe activity, whether it's football or soccer or motorcycle racing or drag racing. It's, the benefit to the community is the same. So I understand that it's agriculture and residential, but you've
Well, we haven't-
legally licensed 2 other facilities and organizations that aren't associated with agriculture or residential.
Well, to my knowledge, right, I've been here for 2 years and we've worked with the CHamoru Land Trust back in '95. And if you look at this listing, there's properties that were set aside for the judicial court, mental health, public health. So we'll continue, we'll work with you.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay?
Thank you very much for
All
your
right,
time,
have a good day.
Commissioners.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is that the new version of the shell? Yeah. You had that? I almost bought one back in '73.
Maybe that's
Okay, moving right along, Mr. Director.
Yes.
At least we finish. Do we need a motion to go down?
To new business?
That's B, Charlie. Nobody from Global, resumption of agri, now on void. Yeah,
Actually, at the last meeting, we went through a lot of this already. We did discuss global recycling, unless you want to discuss it again.
Well, there's nothing to rediscuss.
There's nothing to rediscuss, yes, we've already gone through that. And we've also covered a lot of material under new business. We've gone that far. We pretty much returned today for issues that were put forth to legal counsel. But we did, even go as far as new business, revised organizational recruitment, additional positions, which was approved, and was motion approved. The Guam Power Authority request, it was approved to start negotiations with GPA. Under new business C,
Jeez.
regarding Bill
GICC.
17937, the GICC lease board resolution. That one you wanted to have revised, and I revised it based on instructions from the chairman. And it was to revise section 2A, and section 2A also
Regulates.
Also revised, affected 2D,
B is Bravo or B?
D, as in Dave. And we changed the GICC slash solar project to leasing, depending on who obtains the lease, whether it was indeterminate at the time who would be responsible for the lease. So the amendment, based on what you received last time for the resolution, was 2A, the amendment to lease. It says, notwithstanding relevant positions of the law, the CLTC requests the 37th Guam Legislature to approve the following amendments to the lease agreement. That's A, the designation of approximately 5 hectares of lot number 1022-12 in Mokfok Municipality of Dedidu, surrounding the areas of the GICC clubhouse, is open to negotiations. And that's because it would affect their business model. It says, however, the GICC clubhouse, along with its surrounding property of at least 5 acres, would include the parking lot and areas around the clubhouse. And the maintenance storage building that was brought to our attention at the time, along with the surrounding property of 1 acre, shall be exclusively designated for the use of the CHamoru Land Trust Commission. And this designation aims to significantly reduce rental costs to the CLTC, the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission, and the Department of Land Management by providing dedicated facilities. By having these dedicated facilities, the need for external office spaces such as where we have it now, the ITC building, will be minimized. So that would be a saving not just for the CHamoru Land Trust Commission, but we envision also for the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission and the 3 land agencies, including land management. And that, of course, would be, which was recommended by our chairman, that the leasee shall be required to refurbish and reconfigure the clubhouse to accommodate the office space for all 3 agencies. Then the leasee shall be required to provide a surety bond, which is to guarantee that if they fail to move forward with whatever agreement, because it looks like this agreement is going to be legislated. This is based on Bill number 179-37 COR. That will provide a surety bond to provide a financial guarantee for the lessor, and to also ensure the removal of components associated with the solar farm at the end of the lease agreement. And the bond is to provide protection in the event that the leasee fails to fulfill their obligations. That's the surety bond. We should make sure that for any commercial lease that we require surety bonds for all of them. That seems to have been a problem in the past, that when we have leases or tenants, we don't require them to have insurance that will protect us. So I feel that should be something common we include in all future commercial leases. And then, of course, if we get the building, D, as in Dave, the CLTC will be responsible for the overhead maintenance costs of the facilities and the grounds around the clubhouse and the maintenance storage building. And this includes the upkeep and maintenance of the buildings and the surrounding grounds. And in E, the CLTC opposes the creation of the CLTC endowment fund, because that would tie our hands. If they give us the money the way I foresee it, if this goes through, we'll be getting money that would take us normally 30 years to obtain in an advance payment, should they get an agreement with GPA, and we can use those monies to install infrastructure today at today's prices. So we're using like future income, receive it all one time today, take care of these issues that we have out there with our DCs who are living on property that don't have the necessary infrastructure. So we don't want the endowment fund, which will tie our hands. And any mandate stipulating that the transfer of accelerated rent received in accordance with the amended lease agreement. This opposition is based on a specific mandate outlined in Bill number 179-370R. And then if the property is not used for renewable solar power, the provisions outlined in section 2A through E of this resolution shall be null and void. Because G, we want this right away. They owe us about $600,000 in arrears, so G is for the GICC, should this become law, will settle their arrears payment within 30 calendar days upon the passage of the bill. That seems to cover a lot. It seems like based on what the commission received last time and the instruction that was given by our chairman, and what I listened from the board, and also the proposals coming from the people who support the solar farm project, this supports basically the intent of Bill 17937 with certain amendments, certain clauses that, or provisions that say that we're supported if these things are implemented. If not, then we don't support it. And that is, I mean, the way it was presented to us is like we were the ones that are going to be negotiating with them. No, they're negotiating with us. This is CLTC property. We determine what will happen to that property.
Thank you for that.
So that's why it's written this way. And if you agree with it, you can vote on this. It's a resolution. It's simply something that will pass out to the legislature with a letter of transmittal if you approve the resolution. Those were the amendments to the initial resolution that you received at the beginning of, before we went into recess. You don't have to approve it tonight. We could hold it to next and think about it.
Well, my question.
Or if you want to add more to it.
My question for that is, can we make the motion and vote on the motion without legal being here?
Well, this is a resolution, it's not a contract.
Okay. So it's no need legal.
Right, well, legal heard it last time, didn't have any issues with the resolution. We did not decide to send this, but if you want legal to look at the resolution first, that's your, your prerogative. You can make that decision.
No, I just want to know if it's germane to vote on it without legal's presence.
Now, you can work on the resolution as it is. It's your decision. It's a decision whether or not we support the legislation going to the legislature. And then when we go there for the public hearing on it, when that is scheduled, if they have a resolution supporting it, then we come in and tell them our support is based on these contingencies, that these are the issues that we're looking at. So, yeah, I don't generally agree with legislative contracts or agreements because it puts us at a disadvantage. I've seen that here.
Takes the power away from us.
It does. The example we have here is the legislation for the raceway track. We just went through that, and that's more recent here. Ancestral Lands also has its own legislative leases, and it generally puts the commission at a disadvantage.
On your generation of investments, is that controlled by an endowment fund?
The one for Ancestral Lands?
Right, yeah, you guys
No.
have generated from $0 now to up a couple of
No,
million.
it's by the board. What I did with Ancestral Lands is we came up with what we call an investment policy statement,
Okay.
where the
So-
board agrees on how the funds that we generate will be invested to grow the money. It's not an endowment, doesn't tie our hands. If the board decides to withdraw one and all the money that's placed there for a specific project, they can do it. If they do it for any other reason, or for an extended period of time for investments, the board can make that decision. It's an investment policy.
Okay.
It's not
Not that-
generated by the legislature where they tie their hands. Because if it's from the legislature, it becomes law. with a policy that's set by the board. And I did give the copy to Joey Cruz to work it over and see how we can adapt that from the Guam Ancestral Lands to the Chamorro Land Trust Commission. And it's a government, it works for one government agency doing something similar, having funds that we need to grow and to actually invest money. And I could see it like the loan guarantee monies. We have $5.6 million in there, right?
Yes.
Right now it's sitting in some account, earning probably less than 1%.
Yeah.
If you invest that through investment firms like Raymond James, just certificates of deposit, CDs are now on very high, 4.5% to 5%, 5.5% is what it's earning on CDs alone. And if you have it spread out through various banks throughout the US that are insured, banks or credit unions insured up to $250,000 per account, then it makes it safe. And so it's something where the funds could be spread out, earn as much interest on it as we can, at least more interest than what it's earning now, even in CDs and cash equivalents. But if you decide after experiencing and becoming more experienced with investments, then you could go into other stocks and bonds as you become more familiar and more comfortable with investments.
John, can you check on treasury bills?
Yeah, like
That's
bonds and
supposed to be-
such.
That's
Yeah.
supposed to be yielding pretty high right now.
Yes, yes. Like I said, with ancestral lands, they're earning about 5 to 5.5% on the average. And right now, interest rates are climbing. So of course, we see that that will climb if you decide to go into shares or stocks. But yeah, treasury bills. So those are those things. I mean, that's included for CDs, cash equivalents and such. Because if it's in that, you can pretty much withdraw it whenever you want for
The
the.
thing with the FDIC insurance,
Yeah, they're all FDIC insured up to
it covers only
250,000
the maximum.
each account. That's why with ancestral
But
lands,
we-
we spread it out, 250,000 maximum per bank. It's spread
Yeah,
out to different
250
banks.
per bank,
Per
that's
bank.
correct.
Yeah.
But you cannot have more than one account in one bank. It's still only
Right,
gonna be
it's-
250.
So you could spread out on 100 banks if you wanted. That's
Yes.
what we're able to do.
That's the only way you can
That's what
insure all that money.
That's what I've done with ancestral lands, and they have over
That's
6.
So if they have branches, it's just
Exactly.
one bank
But this
of their
is,
branch?
But you have to go to, like you said, 100 different banks if you wanna cover the entire,
ancestral lands has $16 million set aside. We have $5,600,000. It can be done. I've done it with ancestral lands. It can be done here. So that's starting with Joey Cruz for him to go over. And then hopefully once he's done with that, we can present it to the board for your review. And I advise you again to go over it very carefully. We could bring in people like Raymond James and others to explain what we're up for. Because of course, we're gonna have to put it out through an RFP. We can't just say, Raymond James, you're gonna do this. We have to place it out. But it's something that we've already developed for one agency, and we can just transfer it here. The template is there. It's a matter for you to look at it and make a decision. So, it can be done.
Okay, I have a question on number G as in golf. For F as in Foxtrot, if the property is not used for renewable power. And
If the property's not used for renewable, because there's a clause in the bill that says until it is used, because see, what they're gonna do is when this becomes law, should become law, what's written into Bill 17937 is that there will be a clause from them giving us the accelerated payments. That's not guaranteed that once this becomes law,
Yeah.
they give us accelerated the payments until they have a contract with GPA. So this is the bill is to provide for a license agreement for a private company to take over the golf course, convert it into a solar farm with the hope of hooking up the GPA. They don't have a contract just yet.
I see. Okay, then we go to G, the GICC, is to settle arrears payment within 30 calendar days upon the passage of bill.
That's a month and a half.
Yeah, month and a half?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, within 30 calendar days, yeah, because
Oh.
of course you gotta minus out, you know.
Okay, I understand, yeah, but my point here is that,
No, you don't
Should
minus
that
out
be
these calendar
business
days, not
days?
work days.
Yeah,
So
that
be
should
1
be
month.
business days.
Well, we could change it to business days if you want, but
yeah, no.
the agreement we have with them when they sat here is they owe us $600,000.
Right, yeah, that's the paper in front of me, so, and that was my question, how are they, in the arrears of 600,000? Is it still six? Because according to that
It
document.
may have gone up, it
they
was
paid
about
up to
800.
September.
Yeah, it may have gone down. I don't have Joey here right now to give me the actual numbers.
Okay.
He's on leave, he's handling, I believe it's a funeral, right? For his family.
Because I remember Commissioner Garrido, right, mentioned that he was gonna give the GICC a probationary period, and that was like 6 months ago.
No, that was last year.
Yeah, to pay the total 800 at that time?
No,
800?
based on the P note that they signed with the previous board.
Yeah, my understanding is that they're up to date on making their payments, that's my understanding.
On the monthly payment of 24,000 per month?
Yeah, they've been bringing down the arrears
Okay.
slowly,
Yeah.
so my understanding is they're adhering to the payment plan.
So
So because of that, we just can't end the contract.
Oh, but the arrears, is it supposed to be paid within the note was supposed to be 6 months?
No,
Or to pay in full?
their promissory note was to pay down their arrears.
On a 12-month?
I don't know if it was 12 months, I think.
I understand there's a payment plan, I don't know what it
Yeah,
is
I'm
right
just
now.
checking because, you know,
Yeah.
because if the contract doesn't go 179. it's
Because
not-
if they owe 600,000, they're not gonna pay that off in 12 months.
Yeah, it used to be 800,000 is my understanding, it's been brought
Yeah,
down.
but that's the last report I had, it was like 800 there, Glenn, you see?
Yeah. I believe Joey told me it was down to 600 now.
Okay, that's just for that.
Okay, so anyway,
But it's good, it looks
the
good.
clause here in G is regardless if they have the contract with GPA.
Yes,
The clause says that should this become law,
right,
they have 30 calendar days for when it becomes law to pay it off.
when they switch on the power.
No,
Oh,
the arrears,
okay.
30 days from
Once
this
they have to
becoming
sign a
law.
contract, they're gonna pay off
That-
their arrears.
The $7 to $9 million is when they get the
Okay,
contract.
understand, okay, got it.
So there's two different payments here.
Yeah, so the 9
Six.
mil, 7 to 9 mil is when they switch the light on.
Yes,
And the arrears should be paid right after.
right after this becomes law.
Okay, good. Okay,
So we
understand.
get the arrears up front within 30 days. Then once they get the contract to turn the lights on for GPA, then we get $7 to $9 million.
Okay, all right, very good. I'm-
That's what this
No, it
resolution
says
is.
calendar, calendar is faster than business days.
It is. So we talked to them that time they presented to us about calendar days.
Mhm.
And so we were very specific to that, and they said, yes, we'll pay it out. Because my concern there was that we're not making more money than what we're gonna be making right now, except that rather than waiting 30 years to collect it, based on what their proposal is, we will get all the money that paid in advance, all our earnings for the next 30 years that paid to us upfront with the accelerated payment. So this would mean that if you approve the resolution, then we could prepare a transmittal letter with the resolution to the legislature saying that we agree or disagree with Bill 17937. Because in short, this is to support that with certain contingencies attached, that we would agree to amend the lease agreement we have with the Guam International Country Club. Of course, there's certain notes of our own, which is letter A through G.
Mr. Chair. Based on the resolution 2024-001.
Can I make
Oil.
Go ahead.
I just have questions
Sure.
before we go into voting or
Oh, yes.
agreeing. Because
What,
Mr. Director urged, this resolution is good. These- But I just have questions as to, has EPA ever assessed the solar farms on its,
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
On-
no, and how's it going to affect having a solar farm in that area
Mhm.
where the golf course is?
Well, we could attempt to ask EPA, but no, we don't, I don't have that, and we could make that a requirement that they comply with all Guam laws, building permits, environmental, of course, that's what they're gonna have to go through. But we could include in the resolution, something to that effect, that they, do so in compliance with Guam's building codes, environmental codes and such. I could come up with the language for that.
And how much is going to cost, the cost for CLTC? And what revenue is going to CLTC?
Their proposal, I don't have their proposal right in front of me right now. I'm trying to remember what it was in there, but the revenue that was gonna come to us would be equal to the total revenue that we're charging them right now monthly, but over a period, a span of 30 years. And that's where it came up to about $7 to $9 million. So that's, I wish that they were here for that right now, but
Yeah.
Including the acceleration,
the acceleration was to pay everything in advance.
yeah, including the acceleration clause every 5 years. The,
No,
Well,
no,
if they did get that, they were, there's a clause in there, I don't have a copy of the bill in front of me, but there was a clause in there that stated that it will be increased every so many years, like every 5 years.
escalation, you mean
So
escalation?
escalation clause in there. But of course, by paying in advance, the acceleration was to give them a deal. And it would work out with us receiving the money today, rather than waiting 30 years to accumulate the funds. We get it paid all at once. And of course, the acceleration, all that, I am assuming would not be built into that.
And then the other question is information on what are the other two solar farms cited for in their violations or not conforming to the standards.
Okay, so you want me to do research on what solar
And
farms?
yeah. And with the present bill 179-37, would you be able to sort of like, when you do go there to testify for that bill, and if there's something that you don't agree to with, during the discussion of the bill, would the legislature make changes?
That now is the problem when it's legislated,
So
contracts.
how do we
We
go
don't have
about?
control, we lose control. This is where we provide our input.
This is how we what we say, provide our input, and hopefully they will adhere to it.
Adhere to these resolutions.
We put this out saying that we agreed based on these contingencies that we add into it. And then, of course, the problem with legislative contracts is we lose control, it's up to the legislature. They want, in fact, because of the way certain bills or certain laws are created, the legislature wants to control contracts for long term. In many areas, I mean, CLTC is exempt from some of this in some areas, but other agencies can only lease properties out for less than 5 years. Anything in excess of that, they must go to the legislature for the legislature to agree to that.
Yeah.
And of course, you can see that was a problem with the decision. Everybody says they want to build a hospital, but the thing is the location on government property. And while everybody says we gotta build one, they can't agree to location, where.
Right.
And that's where they control that, by controlling the leases in excess of that. And now with this, there is this proposal, and actually this came up with 2 bills prior. And after our testimony in that, because I was concerned about the administrative control over those bills, it took it away from the commission. I haven't seen those bills come up, and I hope that they don't, those 2 don't get passed. One bill was to, it gave us provided us with some understanding that they're gonna help us by setting up the minimum or the maximum for loan guarantees. But it was a defective bill, it did not work. In fact, the board, you made a decision to say that our loan guarantees would be guaranteed up to 20% of the total aggregate.
The up from 5 to,
Right.
yeah, so it's very.
But the bill was written that it would be 25% of each loan, which is not the same thing.
Oh,
Yes, it was 25% of the loan. I mean, if you're gonna get a loan from a bank for $100,000 and we're only guaranteed 25% of that, that's 20, yeah. What bank will accept that? It'd be good for us, but no financial institution will agree to that.
Yeah, and I check SBA with that.
Yeah, but what we were looking for, and the board made a decision that because the defaults we have range around between 18 to 19%,
Right.
we decided to keep 20% of the total aggregate in an account. That's about 5.6 million
Right.
that we have now. We've used up to 50% of that in guarantees. So,
can I ask you then, those old guarantees that was agreed by the CLTC
in the past,
in the past, now is it the same wording as far as
I believe
what you
that
say?
the document we use is similar. Minor changes? Oh, I'm understanding there's minor changes. I didn't look at the one previous, only the one that we're doing now. But they're covered by that. So that's where we're up to about 50%, 55% of our funds. But that's why I say that when it comes to legislation, you know, it's at the legislature. Our job is to make sure they're aware of our concerns. And then, of course, the second one was Bill 178, which wanted to establish the endowment fund. Of course, my concern with the endowment fund, it's usually a tax break, whoever puts money into the endowment fund.
Yeah,
And if they were to pay a lease to us and they were gonna get a tax break for it, I don't think that that was right.
yeah,
And then they were gonna limit our access to whatever money's placed in that to whatever interest earned on that becomes available. And that limits us, if they put $7 or $9 million into about $300,000 a year. So if we wanted to start a project now, we couldn't. I mean, the amount of funds available is not enough. It would take us a long time to access money to build the infrastructure for the various projects that we have. And so they said that was a good thing for us because it gives us guaranteed income, but it gives them a tax break and limits our access to it by law. So I was against the endowment fund. And then that led up to this bill,
Yeah,
179.
I see.
And 179 says the endowment fund again, that's why I say we're against anything
right.
that does that. But apparently there's 3 bills out there that leads 1, 2, and 3, and this is the final one. None of them have become law just yet. But this is just to let them know of our concerns. That's why I said we could write in this thing almost anything you want. The idea is, do we support it or not? Right now, as the as a golf course, well, they're not making much money up there. And you visited the place, I know our chairman went up there, you saw the condition of it.
I was,
You were there too?
yeah.
Okay, so you've seen that?
The only question on the lease or the agreement with the golf course is, are we able to do this where we allow the solar farm to happen? Or does the lease have to expire?
This is to amend the lease, that's what the bill is. To amend it and to extend it.
But on the original lease, or the law, when it became a municipal golf course,
Yeah, this changes the use of a golf course to allow the alternative use for a solar farm.
so it's to change
Yes,
the lease.
It will be in addition to the golf course.
it's an amendment to the lease.
That way, if they win the bid, they phase out the golf course. If they lose the bid, they continue as a golf course.
Yeah. And we would move forward with, I forget what the interest rate, and after so many years, the interest rate increases again. It pretty much extends it, and I believe it also allows for the ownership of the country club to change over, because that's outcome rather than putting the GICC, which may no longer exist later on, as the leasing.
Yeah. So, those questions I asked, can you
We'll,
at least let me know on the,
on the next, so we can hold this and have it on the agenda
yeah,
for the,
February.
yeah,
yeah,
for
the February,
15.
yeah. No, because the resolution is,
Yeah,
I'm just concerned about,
but I think that we should add in, you're correct, that one, on following the building codes, environmental issues.
yeah,
Would that be upon them, because if I were to ask EPA to do it now, they're
I'll
overstretched.
just put it,
Yeah, I'll just put in, that's a requirement,
Yeah.
that'll be one of the requirements in here. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm aware.
the developer would be required, right, to go through the permitting
It's-
process?
It's required in the permitting process, but we could just put it in words if you want, there's no problem writing it down, doesn't hurt.
Up to you,
But yes, in the permitting process, that is
Yeah.
a requirement, whenever you do any type of major construction like this, that is required.
remember the Marble Cave incident when the erosion took the dirt and it went into the pure water?
Yeah.
yeah, that's the concern too.
Right, yeah,
Right.
so.
That's why I say,
Well,
check with EPA,
right now,
whatever.
I believe we have Waterworks as test wells up there?
Correct, the golf course?
Yes, they
Correct.
have about 5 acres, because that's really now we've verified it's,
Eight wells,
Eight
seven
wells.
or test well, one
Yeah,
well.
they got 9 pumps.
No,
Yeah,
8 or 9,
pump.
yeah.
okay, but there are, it's actually 205 acres.
Yeah,
And 5 acres is leased, are given to Waterworks for that
Right, yeah.
purpose. So it's really 200 acres that we're looking at.
okay. Okay,
So
so,
we verified that one. You know, before we were saying it was 250 acres. It's a
Remember
big difference.
when we went on that trip
yes,
and
at the golf course.
the golf course, the water, when it rains, it goes in and they hold it,
Right, into
They
the
don't-
lake, the lake, the man-made
Several,
lake.
yeah.
but it doesn't just go right into the water.
Yeah, well, just a liner, and that's what happened, right? The liners are torn apart.
Yeah,
But then even if it goes into the water aquifer, I guess, remember, there's a treatment system that goes through the chlorination system. Remember when we went through there? Oh, there's chlorinators in some of the pumps, so, and then it goes up to the 2.5 million gallon, what's that reservoir? Remember we went back on hole number 9? Yeah, from Route 1 to hole number 9 from the east side of the property, so that's your question?
Just include the verbiage about the authorizing agencies and meeting the proper standards for.
yeah, that's easy enough to include that, because that's part of the permitting process, but it's not hard to write it up and place it in. But I do know that when when we have golf courses, they take care of the grounds and all that. They use a lot of chemicals, pesticides that do go up into that, and the solar farm will not be using that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know that, but just what has happened.
Well, that's how come, what I included here was the surety bond that they would have in place to protect us from that. And I
Yeah.
recommend for anything in the future that we require that too. It's insurance to make sure they follow through on the lease. And should they fail on the lease anywhere down the line, we will be covered. So that's something I haven't seen in some of the leases that we've had with commercial properties or commercial businesses. So I was just thinking of protecting, again, the agency.
No, that's very good.
Yeah. So, and putting this other clause in there is, it's not a problem. Even if we know it's part of the process of construction out there,
Yeah, put it
it
down.
doesn't hurt to put it down.
Okay.
Yeah. But those are your only concerns, is that?
Yeah,
Okay. So just that one clause you want to put in, then you want to know a little bit about problems that they've had with other solar farms.
yeah,
Not necessarily the construction phase, but actually after running it,
Like the
for a
long term.
period, the long-term effects they had in the,
yeah. Or
yeah, we could,
they may have not followed the recommendations from EPA when they built,
yeah.
yeah.
But there are some old solar farms we may find out, because the construction materials for them, I understand, have changed over the years, and they become more compliant now than when they first opened, or when they first started. And things go anywhere from the material used to make the panels to the batteries where they store the energy. I mean, nowadays, what everybody uses, the lithium ion, which I was concerned about when they came in here.
Yeah.
And they said there's other batteries, but we carry lithium ion with us everywhere.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
have a smartphone, it's in your pocket.
That battery kind, that kind of batteries?
Yeah,
Right, that's what's in these things. And if you have any of those battery powered tools at home, Ryobi, Milwaukee, whatever, guess what kind of battery you're holding?
yeah.
Same?
The same thing, they're long lasting and they hold a lot.
Okay.
And if you're driving one of those new electric cars, so, that's the battery now. They might have something better.
Not liquid, no?
No, they don't. Not too many batteries you're gonna find liquid. Many of them be gel or
I see.
lithium or something.
I understand. Okay, very good.
So those are the
Anything
things.
else?
Okay, I can have that ready, and hopefully, do you want me to send this also to legal? Because that wasn't decided last time.
Right,
I see.
just so.
Well, you guide us on that if you,
Okay,
So just schedule this for our February meeting.
yeah, I'll
I will
send it,
make final determination on it.
and hopefully we get legal here. Be honest with you, with ancestral lands, when we lost, with ancestral lands, we went through now 4 legal consuls. Two quit, one got transferred, and then one died. And here too, but there was a period of time for 3 months when we did not have legal counsel with ancestral lands. And the commission was able to function, except we would make decisions like this, but not decisions, and on bills, but not decisions on actual contracts that would be signed. That would need the AG's signature on it. Because this one here should require that signature. Okay.
okay. What's our next? Go ahead, sir.
You're in charge.
I'm gonna tell you that we actually also covered the next one. I just wanted to remind you of that, which was Bill 212. We did cover that. We did, I'm trying to explain that, we covered a lot of this. The only reason why we recessed was to cover certain issues that had to go through legal. So Bill 212 was the issue of, I believe it's 707 square meters.
Tomorrow.
And- Yes, in Tamoni. And it was agreed, and anyway, we already had the public hearing on it, and commission 2017 and 2018 passed resolutions on it. Just to give you a brief on that there was resolution signed back then, saying that the property was mistakenly transferred to CLTC, and it was an effort to correct it. And then for some reason, the legislature passed a law transferring property for the baseball field, and I think the mayor left this 707 square meters out of it. They forgot somehow, so.
So that's that small
Yes.
portion here?
Small, there's a little building on it,
Oh,
used to be like a fish store, whatever. It sits on CLTC property and the municipality of Tamuti property, almost right down the middle.
yeah.
It kind of, not landlocked, but pretty much makes it difficult for the community of Tamuti to enter into there, I guess, through ready access. So they were using access through GDOE by the school.
Okay, got it.
So, the bill was already heard, and based on previous, two previous resolutions passed by the board, members that aren't here today, but what Senator Taitigui wanted, and let me check the minutes here. What occurred. Oh, yes, you approved for me to write for the next meeting, not because this is continued, this one.
Bill,
A resolution just reaffirming the resolution of 2018.
Mhm.
Just to reaffirm, you made a motion and it passed. So that's already done. Just to let you know, and
Okay,
so we were in for just the legal issues, and Attorney Gumatalta passed away, so. But we do have some constituents here, you know, and we already went through public comments in the past. It's up to you if you want to entertain that now.
yes, please.
It's a very short poll, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go.
I would like to also have a 5-minute break.
5-minute break. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so.
Thank you.
I thought you were gonna just go for a
No,
break.
no, it's your decision. I'm just advising, we covered it,
Yeah,
almost all of this already. We're just rehashing it.
Yeah, and then we'll come back after the break and we'll continue.
Okay,
And we'll wrap it up.
and we'll wrap it up. So this will be one of our shortest meetings then.
Yes.
Yeah,
Actually, we have 7.5 hours
yeah.
to this.
Sometimes
This is one of our long ones.
Mr. Birch,
Yes.
you gotta give us the time.
Doesn't give an hour.
Okay, I
When
will,
is-
Break.
for break. Thank you, I'll do that.
No, but,
So I've got nothing.
Roger,
To adjourn.
the time.
I will, if you
The time is 2:40. Okay, Mr. Director, we're on item, let's see, public comment?
That's item A.
Public comment. Okay. No, it's okay. So we can leave right
Took care of that in the last session. We did public comment.
Yes.
So you can ask him.
Okay, we're good.
Yes, so we're good. Just let me of your,
Yeah, we'd like to invite the public to come up if you would like and introduce yourself, please.
Bernice Nelson.
Yeah, just have a seat and just sign in. And just talk into the mic, just put the microphone closer. Yeah, just for the recording.
Okay.
Okay, just say your full name and then,
My name is Bernice Nelson. I'm from Almond Farm in Dededo. And I just want to find out if I'm still approved to stay there.
This is just an extension of the previous meeting.
Yeah.
okay, Commissioners, just for your information, the issues were brought up by Mrs. Nelson during the public comments. So you can't take any vote on the issue, and it's still in progress for consideration. So my recommendation is to include this on the agenda of the February 15th. That way we can discuss this openly, but right now you can have Mrs. Nelson
Speak her mind.
speak her mind and let you know what, but I recommend that you don't take any action, simply because if any motion, any vote will be a violation of the open government law.
okay. Mrs. Nelson, you understand that, no, we meet every Thursday?
Thursday.
Every month. So
Okay.
for us to make any decision, we have to have your case in the agenda. But right now, we're open to hear you as under that public comment. And you can share your thoughts.
Well, I just want to find out, I don't want to keep coming over here and not sure. So, because I'm the only one that's working on the farm right now. And I have just starting a tour. And next month, I'm getting booked for March for going to school to show the kids all the plants. So I want to make sure whether I'm still have the farm or not. If it's not, then, I'm wasting my time. So, but far as I know, Jessica or someone that, I was here before Organic Act. I was a baby. So, from 1948 with my parents.
Yes. Okay, so all those things that you're mentioning were reconfirming everything based on all the facts from your file?
So just up and up right now. There's no saying yes or no. Or
There's no decision made.
No decision
Yeah.
Because
yet
we're not
until-
allowed to make a decision because you're not on our agenda.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, you
remember-
have to be published in our
So
agenda.
why they come over here if I got stuff to do and I come here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I wanna, they could just tell me that I don't need to be here,
I see.
Your case is very complicated.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Can I ask, you just mentioned your parents were here when?
The what?
Your parents?
I was here on 1948 with my parents, from my great-grandmother's, yeah,
Oh, so that is before
1950.
1950, yeah. So you became a US citizen?
It's 1975,
No, but-
before the Saipan people become US, I become US here,
In 1975,
yes.
not 1950.
No, but I
Okay.
was here on 1950.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I,
Yes, you were born here, weren't you?
No, I was born in Saipan, but my parents come over here in 1950. Before, 1948. I was still a baby, I mean,
okay, so all those things were having the agents gather all the documents, and like the director was mentioning, official, we cannot make any official motions today because we're not in the agenda. When I say agenda, so that means that every third Thursday of the month. We have to-
Just in passing, I'm just curious.
It's getting, it's
No,
getting,
I'm curious, just in passing from what you just
yeah,
shared with us.
but it's not
It's-
really, it's,
Was your father a US citizen?
no, my grandfather. But the only thing is, I'm not worried much about the farm, it's just like, I ask a loan to fix my house. My house has got molding every once a month, or I have to clean all the walls. And that's why I ask for a loan. I don't ask for a bigger loan, it's only 80,000.
Understand.
So, I just want the house fixed.
Yeah. You recall, we gave, was that Tina?
Yeah.
No, so we gave Tina the packet of the public law, chapter 75A,
Yes,
right? So that's the rules and regulations is the one that were on that document, is the one that we're verifying all the information that you provided to see if it's in compliance to that. Chapter 75 that Tina carried out here last week.
yes, she's born
Wait.
here in 1965.
No, but it's good to read the document on that one, so
I
that's,
didn't read the document, like I said, I just don't, I wanna do a lot of things, but I'm the only one up there,
Okay.
and it's just hard for me to keep going somewhere. If I keep going every week, then there's nothing done on the farm.
understand. Did they call you to come over today?
Yes.
And who called you?
Jessica called me that I'm supposed to come over here and just hear,
Okay,
because finding out that I was here on
But Jessica?
1948.
Jessica,
Were you able?
wait, just one moment, Jessica's not here?
Jessica,
Yeah, she said she'd be gone.
Left sometimes a week last Wednesday or Thursday on,
So Jessica called you yesterday or
Yes, no, last week,
to come today?
yeah, just to come and hear what
Okay,
happened.
yeah, so this is the message we have, right? We're still researching to confirm the public law that we gave Tina,
Yeah,
the chapter 75A. So if Tina can share with you what's in that particular law. And then all the documentations Mr. Glenn and the agents have, we're gonna,
comply,
take it out, compile, and have the legal counsel
okay.
make that, assessment.
Were you able to ever get an exact date of when your grandfather left Guam?
No, but I was here before 1950. I was the baby with my parents. And I remember, I think when I was probably 2 or 3 years old when I went to Saipan.
And maybe
So that's
they-
what makes it, like I have hope because I was here before
Okay,
Organia.
so that's the question. Go ahead, if you have a question, but the point
No,
there is that,
I was just wondering if she ever was able to determine when her grandfather left Guam. Because there's two parts, there's 75 and
Yeah, but
75A.
if I'm here before that, then why, because we're concentrating on my grandfather. But if I'm here before 1950. Then
But-
I was here on before.
The thing is about the Chamorro Land Trust law, public law, way back 1970, what?
75.
Okay, it says that anyone was in Guam before 1950 is considered Chamorro.
US, wait,
US.
there's something to
You-
add there. When you become-
US, but also the fact that you were here before 1950.
Again,
Even if you're a white man and you're
understand.
here, you can have property from Chamorro Land Trust.
So now we're gonna discuss.
That should be checked with our lawyers
Yeah,
on the interpretation of that law.
yeah, because there's the issue of US citizenship. If you were here in 1950 between those dates and you were a resident of Guam, you would automatically be a US citizen. But then Mrs. Nelson said she was naturalized in 1975, so apparently she was not included in the transactions of the Organic Act.
Then we
So
were,
that's something that needs to be legal, because you became a US citizen in
well, I just become
1975.
because I'm married and I could,
Yeah,
and I
but-
could stay and become US without go to naturalization.
She became a US citizen through the CNMI.
CNMI,
Yeah.
true, when the CNMI became a Commonwealth,
Then I become 5 years before that,
when you married,
my husband,
and so you were naturalized then
yes.
in 1975. The Organic Act would make you a US citizen in 1950 when it was passed.
But we were here in 1950, in
Yes.
1948.
But-
My parents are.
Okay, another part of where it comes with the lawsuit and 75A is it must have been lost land or was deprived of using land during that period from, 1898 and 1968.
Right.
That's the new one now, so it's not necessarily based on race that you are a Chamorro. It's based now on whether or not you own land and it was taken away from you, or you were using land and you were deprived of the use of that property during that specific period. So it is based on a date, because to be honest with you, during the Spanish administration of Guam, almost all the Chamorros, actually all the Chamorros from the Northern Marianas was relocated to Guam during the Spanish time. I hear maybe in Rota there may have been a few, and for almost, I believe, about 100 years, there was nobody living up there to the Carolinians. I believe it was Chief Aguilar stopped on Guam. There's another chief that went straight up, and they named Managawa in his honor, so that they could settle with the Carolinians. And that's why the Carolinians say they're the first settlement in Saipan, not the Chamorros, because Chamorros were all relocated to Guam, those that survived the Spanish Inquisition and whatever, and the measles and all. In fact, the last battle was supposed to be fought on like Goat Island, right outside of Tinian. And so for about 100 years, everybody from Saipan is originally from Guam,
Right.
originally. We're all related, we're all one people. But that's not what was decided when the law was passed. The law was based on residency and a time period of being here. So yes, we're all Chamorros, but just like if I go up to Saipan, because I'm a Guamanian Chamorro, I can't buy property there, right? I'm excluded. This doesn't exclude people from buying land in Guam, but it's for Chamorro Land Trust. And that was changed with 75A to a specific time period. That's the problem that we gotta show, is that if you can show us, because it could be a white person, it could be anybody, maybe even your Koi would qualify, but he was here. Definitely, they caught him a whole lot later. From 1898 to 1968, if you're deprived, if you didn't own land, but you were deprived of it, or if the US federal government, not the government of Guam, it's very specific, the US federal government took your land from you.
Right.
That way with the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission that I oversee also, if their lands were condemned, they automatically qualify. But also those whose properties where I lived on my uncle's property and I was farming it for a living. If I was deprived of that right to make a living off that land, I didn't own it, but I was deprived of a livelihood, then I would qualify too. If you can show us that you were deprived of that, or someone out there in your family, then you would qualify.
Like as far as I know, we have land here from Tudela. And even Tony's have long said, yes, we have land, but I don't know what happened to it. I never asked my grandfather.
Yeah. If you could find that, because the staff here has tried looking through for any properties taken from the Tudela family, they can't find, but if the family had another name under it.
My grandfather, like I said, he was born here in 1895. And he was baptized on Aganya.
Okay,
Okay,
but
so-
that's where we need to do our research.
So between now and next February, we should have a legal counsel, hopefully by that time. And it will be good for the legal counsel to also write the findings, because we can do hearsay.
So I'm just gonna be hanging there and
Well,
hopefully.
well, it's nothing, no action's been taken against you at this
Yeah.
point. None of that.
Yeah.
In fact, it did come to the commission's attention to, you came in for the loan guarantee and they started researching it. And that's the job of the land agents to do that. They'll try to look into it further, but it would help if you could show them or find anything on your own. Because going back and checking on the ancestry of each one of us, is a big task.
Because I gave all my grandfather's birth certificate, but they don't have, and death certificate. When they said I need death certificate because somebody said that he was born in Saipan, so I provide that. I provide the birth certificate.
Okay, so we're gonna do that report, and legal's gonna verify the report. And by the next February, you should have that.
But any documents that you have that we are not aware of.
I'm giving everything I have.
Right. So that
But,
document,
Yeah.
but you made mention that the Tudelas had land here in Guam.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, it's up in Anderson somewhere in that.
If you could
area,
find
but
something
like
that
my
would,
aunt- my
that
co-
could
yeah.
sustain that
Yeah.
claim.
My uncle sold it or under my grandfather, so I don't know.
Or
what
else,
happened.
when your grandfather left Guam,
Yeah, that one, that,
if you can substantiate when he
Yeah.
left Guam.
What's your uncle's name? You should
Oh,
give the land
yeah, they
agent,
have the.
and they can check land management.
I did that already, I called, but it's gonna take back because they don't have any numbers or it's gonna take a while.
Right, so
Because
that's,
there is, even going back to the Spanish days, there are records.
Oh, okay. Can I go down there and ask for, I already asked for it, but they say they don't have time, but can I do it myself?
Yeah, you can ask
That's why I
to do
mentioned
the
to you last time,
research.
if you could do some research through the census in the early 1900s, hopefully your grandfather was still in Guam in the 1900s. If he's listed on a census back then,
Yeah.
that may give your claim footing.
Yeah. Just like I said, it went to Saipan, a lot of them went to Saipan. And we-
Or when he went to Saipan.
When he's a teenager.
Because you showed us him coming back to Guam or somebody coming back to
Yeah.
Guam. You showed us a record of somebody coming back.
My grandfather came here when we were here in 1960.
When?
1960.
1960?
Yeah, we live on Chalampago. I went to school.
No,
here.
that's after 75A, so.
yeah, all those documents would be written down,
Yeah,
so we can.
all the documents
so-
I
so-
gave it to already.
So we can have it documented and reviewed by the legal counsel, just to save time, because we can sit here, longer, right, and keep saying all these hearsay things, but we need the documentation to match with what we're saying, so we can have more comfort in understanding the status. So you can remain at where you're at now until we finish our final research, and by next February 15th,
Was your grandfather a US citizen? I don't think so, because if
My
he left it
grandfather's from here, I mean,
from
born
Guam,
here,
but
yeah.
people being born here doesn't necessarily mean you became a US citizen
They didn't
unless you were
come to
living here
until Organic Act.
under the Organic Act, right?
Yeah, he was here.
But if he was up in Saipan, then he would not have been made a US citizen by the Organic Act.
But I was here.
But you were made a citizen in 1975.
Yeah, because when I went back to Saipan and then I married, so instead of waiting for Saipan people to become US, I went ahead
With
and
the
did it.
Commonwealth, you went and did it earlier. Okay,
So, see, you were mentioning you were here in 1948, based on the newspaper you reported, right?
No, it was research from Jessica.
Yeah.
But I was here when.
1948.
1948. My
Um,
mom and dad and me.
Yeah, and again, we can keep saying this over, but you did not become a US citizen in 1950.
No, I don't know if I'm.
No, and that's why we want to write it down,
Yeah.
right, MTV, so we can have a research document, because we can keep saying this over and over, but you mentioned that you became US in 1975.
Yeah, because
How about
So-
your parents?
my parents is from Saipan.
Did
They
they
were
become
born in
US?
Yeah, born in Saipan.
They became
Both
US
your
citizens?
mom and dad?
later.
Yeah.
Was your dad originally from Guam?
No, he's from Saipan, but he comes over here to translate for Japanese, from CHamoru to Japanese, from 1945 or,
Yeah. So all those will be in the document report.
okay.
It will be very clear,
Yeah.
and then you can use that as your guideline. And that would make our decision very clear on where you stand.
I think it's more gonna be on, I guess, whether or not your father or your grandfather lived in Guam during that period between 1898 and 1968 and was made and had property that was taken away or they were deprived of access to it, or, because the hardest part I can see is the citizenship issue, because that's
Well, when
That's-
did Guam become US citizen?
1950.
1950. I was here before that.
Yeah,
I was born in 48,
But-
but I was here
but,
for about 3 or 4 years.
but the federal government recognized your citizenship when you married and became a naturalized citizen in 1975, not 1950. So if your parents had come here and stayed and remained residents at Guam during that time, you would have been naturalized in 1950, but
But you
was
stayed in
not.
Guam from 48 through how many years?
About 5 years or 3 years. I'm still a baby when I went to young kids when I went to Saipan.
No, when you went back to Saipan.
Yeah, we went to Saipan, then I come back in 1960 after the typhoon.
And you were born here, 1948?
I was born in Saipan 48. But my parents and I came over here on the ship.
Okay, so all those would be,
Yeah. We need to forward that to legal for legal's interpretation,
Right,
because
yeah.
it's a gray area, but if, you know,
you'll be very clear when we're done with the lawyers are gonna put that in writing, and then,
And then you mentioned Tony.
Tony Sablon,
So Tony, we know owns property up.
yes, up in the,
on the Otero,
yeah,
Because-
our area, yeah.
because on the
Are
Sabang
they,
side, Tony's from,
Is he at Tudela or?
He's, my grandfather's Ramirez and my other grandfather's the one that related to Sablon.
From the
Right.
Sablan
From
side?
Sablon.
Your grandfather is Joaquin Sablan Tudela.
Okay, but Sablan is not the owner of that Oruno area, it's the
Sartero.
Yeah, Sablon, Tony Otero Sablon.
Yes, but the land was vested through the Artero,
No, it's
not Sablan.
I don't know, but that's what he said. And he said, I asked him, I said, is there Tudela land here? He goes, yes.
So you should ask him.
That's what I'm gonna do.
yeah, if we can find out from Tony and
Yeah.
find out if he can give you directions, so our land agents here, because they're very capable of doing their research. And that's probably what's gonna hinge on. And I know nobody wants to see Hamlet Farms go down, but there is the law, and I know we're trying to figure a way around it. but if not, it might take legislation at that too. So,
But we're not chasing you out, or we're
No,
not,
I
we're not
know.
placing you,
I
okay?
know I'm not,
No,
just
there's
that, you know,
nothing,
if I,
nothing has been
if I'm-
determined yet.
doing it for 4 years or something, and then you say, hey, that's it, and I put all the money and effort on it, and it's like waste my time, you know. I don't want the kids or people that comes over here and asking for medicine, and people come over all the time for medicine.
And you applied, right, for that place?
Yeah.
You applied under the CHamoru Land Trust,
Yes.
right? So all those documents would be written down in the report?
Yeah.
And you have it line by line,
Okay,
reviewed by the lawyer?
Glenn, when did she get her lease?
She applied sometime in 1996, and I believe the lease was issued, if not mistaken, 2012 or 10 or 12, most likely 12.
1996?
Yes, you applied
1975.
That's for the land use permit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, because I was
I
planning.
records I saw 1976,
Mhm.
you were given a lease
For
from,
100 by 100.
yeah, and then you didn't, what happened is you were, you was on the lease was on a year-to-year basis,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And there were some years where you didn't continue your lease. I have records of those,
Okay.
and letters from, land management. And then when WP was no longer in place, CHamoru Land Trust took over. And then that's when you came in and applied in 1996. Yes.
So all those would be listed down, all the documents that we mentioned, it's
Okay.
recorded, so it's gonna be itemized.
Okay.
So it will save you time and,
It's complicated.
I know.
it's
I
not,
understand.
it's simple, it's very simple. The law is written, it's clear,
But
you're
the-
clear.
But the law can really confuse you.
Well, and that's why we're gonna make the lawyer, make it, simple, so we can understand. So we don't wanna waste your time because you have a lot of work to do. We understand the emotion that's going through,
Yeah,
and, we understand the documents that you submitted when you applied for a rendu
yeah.
and all the history, so it's, you believe in praying and meditating?
That's what
If you
I
do
do.
that, then you're fine,
That's what I
no
do.
worries,
Okay.
right?
But if you can give us the document where you said taking was in place back in, from either Lisa Tadella or Sablan, that would help us in case, that we really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
That one you
Land
communicate, make Glenn
management
refer,
is
right?
fine.
Communicate that, because we're not here to do that now.
Yeah, and because we have the tools like land management has.
Right,
We
understand.
don't have to work with them, we
Yeah.
if we give them information,
I'll try that.
we'll help you. Yeah.
So communicate on a one-to-one and get those, if you have the
And
documents,
and
and
bring
send it
up
up in
the
your summary.
Document and all that stuff.
Give it any names, and then we can clarify now, see how we can assist you in finding those land takings or condemnations.
Mhm.
And if you can, and we can help you prepare as soon as possible, hopefully even before February 15 meeting. That's
Yeah.
all we need, yeah. Anything to help you.
I called the SBA and tell them forget about that, to go now and just fix my house a little bit at a time, because it's starting to.
We have no problem with the SBA, it's where the house is standing on.
Yeah.
That's our mission, is the land, so, but okay, we'll get all the documentations and
Okay,
we'll decide based on the facts.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioners, what we got recently that wasn't in my report, I guess if we go back on the agenda for the director's report, this is interesting legislation that came up, and I just checked it, the public hearing is gonna be Tuesday. Yes,
For Tuesday, tomorrow, next week,
yes, Tuesday next week, February 6th at 10 a.m.
that's 212,
2 to 8.
228, and that's regarding
It regards the successors to CHamoru Land Trust
also
leases,
the children,
the children, yes.
yes.
And
Branches.
so can I go back into the director's report?
Oh, any objection or,
Okay, Because we just got this the other day, and I just got a notice from Luke, they want to know what our position is on this. Okay, I do know it's something that really thank the speaker for bringing this up, but it is missing things too.
Good.
Not only children, I find it, when I read through the law, it's missing siblings. I can give property to my beneficiary to my sister-in-law, but not my brother. So we should make it siblings too.
Okay, add it in and we'll.
Okay, siblings, yeah, because it's really odd that they might think something's wrong. Why am I giving my sister-in-law and my brother? But it's not allowed for by law.
Okay.
And that's one of the problems that we heard previously with people coming in, that it was given by the brother, therefore it is a voidable,
Yeah.
exactly, and one of the voided stuff. So we could ratify some of these by doing that.
Okay.
But, and this one here is for you to give to your grandchildren. But there's many cases, and there have been some cases where grandchildren wanted to return the property to their grandmother or grandfather. It's not allowed to be reversed. It can't go to the grandparents.
And we want to
So
add that in.
that's grandparents, siblings, and retroactive, so we can ratify some of these issues.
Okay.
Is there anything else that I'm missing?
Well, I believe we look at the grandchildren and of course the children, and you mentioned grandparents.
Yes, and retroactive.
Yeah.
I mean, if you support it, I can write up testimony and testify in favor of this, but to include these others, because these are issues that be coming before us. I've noticed several of them when we're going through the loan guarantees, why they're not being, why when we're doing our land agents are auditing their records, they say it was given to you by your brother. So there's a problem because it's not allowed by law.
Okay.
Or, you know, from the grandparents to the grandchildren, the law, so this will fix that.
So we also want to include, if I may, parents.
Yeah, write it down
Parents,
here.
Yeah.
write it up. Parents,
Please write it down
grandparents,
so
grandchildren,
we can
Blood
remind-
relatives.
siblings, blood relatives.
Yeah.
Blood relatives.
Yeah, because if it were to give it to my sister-in-law, my brother died, give it to her, and she gets married, then it goes to another family if she dies, and then it's out away from the bloodline of my family. So yes, blood relatives, I understand that. That's a key part. So you would want to keep it in the family tree. But that's why I find it odd. So,
Yeah.
and this has been a problem when I say, why can't we do it? Well, it's missing.
Well,
So-
remember, yeah, we had this was a stumbling block, right, since 1975.
That didn't
So-
make sense at all. It includes widow and widower of siblings, but not the sibling.
So
Exactly,
jot
it's my
down,
problem.
jot
My
down
brother would
the,
be mad at me if I declare his wife my beneficiary. You see what I mean, right? Let's add siblings,
Yes.
grandchildren.
No.
When is the hearing?
And this would, okay, this is Tuesday, February 6th at 10 a.m. If any of you will be there, I'd be more than happy, because with, many times I go to the legislature, whether it's ancestral lands or here, since I've been here, it's been myself. If the commissioners are there, it has a greater impact than just the administrators.
Even if 3 of us are there?
If
all right.
three is perfect.
I mean, they're gonna say, why are you meeting? But it's a
No, no,
public
it's a
hearing.
public hearing, it's advertised.
Remember?
Yes, of
We'll
course.
give you a quote.
we were stopped at number 6, right, since when, 1995?
It's been a stumbling
We were
block
stopped at
for,
number 6, right?
this is
We're
what's,
1995, we're stuck
Or
at number
95.
6, and number 6 is grandchildren.
Right.
So that's a lot.
Yeah,
And just to
so
let you guys know, this is an applicant.
it's in the
not a
application
list.
stage,
Yeah.
but if this one is, if we include grandchildren, then we can move forward with number 6.
And the applicant passed away, right?
that's not included in this.
Yeah, and it's not included in that.
I don't see the applicant included in this, and there's an issue if we include the applicant, the beneficiaries of the applicants who passed. You know, that's gonna do a lot of work for the staff. I'm gonna need more staff to do the history to find out who are the heirs of the applicants.
Yeah, and see, I mentioned this when I requested for the 8,000.
But it's up to you if you want to include applicants, but it opens up another can of worms, like,
Well, number 6 is an applicant, not a leasing.
But, and then the
And she's a
beneficiary
deceased.
is
She's a
grandchild.
deceased.
Huh?
The applicant is deceased.
And if the applicant is deceased, then their application is deceased too.
No, but the grandchild is there.
The grant,
Right,
they
But
need the successor to
grandchild is
the
not covered.
applicant.
Well,
Right,
that's why
right.
we're doing this law, right? To-
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Do you want to
Include
include that?
applicant slash leasing.
Right. So write it down.
Successor,
Yeah,
Successor
now we're
to the
using-
applicant?
yeah, successor.
We're using
meaning-
successor now,
Yeah.
the term.
so write those things down that you have been taught, so we can submit it and then they'll hash it out.
Okay, so you want a successor to the applicant, so even if you don't have a lease, you're
Mhm.
recommending to put that
Yeah,
in?
because that's number 6. They
Okay.
don't have a
Yeah,
lease.
remember, that's why we're stopped at.
Okay, so
6.
make a list, so I can write up the testimony. I just need a list of everything that you want in there, what's been causing us that lease. And that would ratify a lot of
A lot
these,
of
because,
them.
yes.
All,
Hundred
all that 18,000, they're all applicants.
Right, but the issue too is to make it retroactive, because if we do it from today,
Grandfather?
yeah, you know, those people still be cut off. So we gotta retroact this back to make it effective.
The legislature would do that in their,
Well, that's when we come in and then they amend the bill.
Right.
You'll clarify.
so that's why I'm saying, write down your,
But that's why, in order to show emphasis that that's what we actually need, it helps for the board to be there. As you're the governing board, you know, we administer, whether I agree or disagree with what you say that we're gonna do, we will do it. The decision is made by the board here. So, okay, so yeah, this is important then, so, what I could do is, once I sit down with the staff tomorrow, we'll go over all these, the applicant, siblings, retroactive, grandparents, and parents,
Parents, yes.
and successors to applicants. And then, once I have that drafted up, I'll share it with you. And then,
You don't wanna, in that phrase there, successor to applicants and or leasees.
yeah, write it down and we'll add it in. Yeah.
Because if you're lessee and the grandchild is still not accepted, then we cover both bases by saying applicant and lessees.
When the law already is in place where if you have a lease, right, you can give to your children, right, and or your nieces and nephews, but it doesn't include grandchildren.
That's what I'm
right?
saying.
So you're right.
That's what I'm
to
saying.
include
We
that.
include it.
Yeah.
We include both categories, applicants and lessees.
Right.
okay.
I would cover
And
so.
using the term retroactive,
Right,
Now, you remember the Boyd and Boyd rules, the report from the Attorney General? Those that were, that jumped the line,
yes.
and then those that were provided leases on unregistered land. So, you know, these issues, right? If we, right now we've got 2,900 leases, right? And then almost out of 2,900, we're only at number 6. So all the others are basically given a lease. It's either they're preoccupying, right? Either backed by land use permit, or just by squatting, or by Department of Agriculture. Bills verify that, Glenn, no?
There is a lot of
2000.
cases.
2,900 leases, right? That's on the database now,
Right,
right?
there.
We're still at number 6 on the first come, first served. And how many have been given leases that pass number 6? Well, we'll compute in the preoccupiers, remember?
But we have to remember that as a pre-occupier, right? I'll give an example. I've been there since 1986, never left the farm. I applied at 2009. The law is very clear that that the leases will be issued date and time. So because I applied 2009, that doesn't allow me to jump and get me a lease right away.
Correct.
I have to wait my date and time when 1995 is completed, 1996 completed, but we have many cases where there, like I said, there are pre-occupiers and that was issued a lease, they jumped the line.
So
So,
here's a legal
There's
question,
have to be a
right?
fix to that too.
Correct, good point.
Yeah.
So the question here is that, which came first, right? The chicken or the egg? The chicken may be the public law 12-226, or the egg can be the land use permit in, that's public law 30,
Provided that on
the
the
arrendum.
the people are still farming.
Yes, they're living
Correct,
occupied, continually occupying to current.
correct.
So if they leave 1 year, 6 months, or 30 days, they abandon the premises. We have cases back, like 5, 6 years ago, where as a sibling, at LEP, and it stayed there like up to 1998 or 2000, let's give an example, left the island for 6 months for whatever reason, sister stays there, and then when she came back to make claims, because she didn't have a lease, but she wasn't qualified to get a lease because she left off island.
But she grew up in that homestead,
Yeah, but she didn't continue to occupy, she left
and who
without
has,
consulting
and who has the lease?
the sister,
The sister.
because the sister
And is
was
that-
staying there too as well.
Yeah, and is that the primary residence, right? So what
Yeah,
I'm saying here,
for
right,
both siblings.
is that we'll make the legislature hash that out. I'm not a senator, you're not a senator, so we'll lay that out and have them analyze that to either.
But the question is, the brother or sister who left
Right.
allowed her to
Yeah.
stay?
Mhm. But they were also staying there too, at the same time, because, and the rental siblings were staying there, but,
As a primary.
because remember,
oversight.
even as if you're the land use committee, also even the children or whoever was occupying are entitled to that too, or siblings. So, but if you leave the premises and you no longer, you're not continuing occupying as.
Doesn't that law also allow for squatting?
For squatting, okay, we have to remember that for anybody, even if you're a Leandro, right, or say you're an LUP, and then you come in today and you say your date and time is up, you have to qualify for the program. And if you don't qualify, like today under 75A, then you're not, that's when you have to vacate.
So squatting, is squatting
That
qualified?
applies to that too, they have to.
Right, so
they
answer the
have to,
question, is squatting included in that? Yes or no?
There's a.
Just say yes or no.
Yes, just
All right,
spot, there
that's it.
is,
Yeah.
there is for those who are occupying
Yeah.
under the land use permit or
Right,
unauthorized.
okay, we don't need to pontificate, okay, so we're done with that subject,
Yeah,
so
that
let's
means
move
that
on.
they qualify.
Right, yeah, that's the
Sure.
question, so we can spread the
Okay.
cheese all the way, right? But are they qualified, yes or no? Based on 75A? Yes.
That's yet to be determined.
Well, anyway,
Okay.
this one here is good news.
Yes.
If you're there together when I work on it, I'll work on this tomorrow.
It's a 30-year-old problem and,
This would resolve a lot of
Very
issues, so I thank the speaker for coming through with this.
now
We're
they're,
just gonna add
to
to it.
retract it and like that would be another subject.
Well,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's up to the legislature to do anything,
Yeah.
but we'll give our input. And the more support we get on the input for this, I know affects the decision-making process of the legislature.
So we're still in public comment?
Yes.
It's our time.
We're
Oh.
seeing-
Would you like to come and say something, sir?
No,
You're good?
no, one question I wanted to ask, really, between the two of you guys. Or between the two of them. You want me to
Yeah, just
say?
state your name and rank, real quickly, because
All right.
we don't have overtime funds.
Commission board members. Write my name down.
Thank you, ladies.
Welcome.
And, yeah, state your name for the microphone. Is that on recording?
You're on.
Your name?
Commission board members, and Mr. Chairman David Herrera, Mr. John Burns, acting administrative director, and lead agent agriculture and state. What I wanted, my opinion that I wanted to ask is, I'm gonna be attending the Tomorrowland Trust Commission regular board meeting every month. Okay? And during which time I would like to understand what is being transpired in the two. Now, would it be okay if whatever documents you guys are being given, I would like to take a look at it, so I can decide what you guys are talking about representing the public. So when that line item, public comment comes up, I can or don't have to make a public comment about what transpired in the meeting, regular board meeting.
Okay, so,
And if so, if I cannot, what public law or what reference states that I can be given a copy of what's going on through the meeting? End of question.
okay. We'll share that with our legal counsel, but of course, application with data that like social security number and stuff like that would be, you follow right one. So some documents are public document, some documents are protected documents. No, just,
But it's being
but the general,
transpired in public because of the media. Okay, so really, as long as there's no social security number,
right, yeah, other than that.
then it's legal for a public member like you
Yes,
to take a look at what agenda you guys.
correct, you're right,
Okay.
that's all, yeah.
That's the reason why it's an open public meeting.
Yes.
Then if I want to say something, I come forward my thanks.
Very good. Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Okay. Have a good day. And thank you for your research. Okay, so just 2 items and then we'll close it.
Okay.
All of
I
us
have
have?
to leave,
Huh?
I have to go.
Okay, real quick. On this first document, there's 211 lots. This is track 319, this one. So I know that we had a work with GPA last week, I believe.
Actually, this meeting, but you know, when we.
Oh, okay.
No, it's still current.
Yeah, so all these 211 lots have leases, but they don't have access to go into the property. So we're gonna ask,
We already given 5 sites already to DPA that with homes without utility, such as power, that they already received. And that's where the $190,000 put to come
okay,
in.
all right,
Choose
so,
those.
so tomorrow, please set me a schedule. I like to bring it to the site here that I'm talking about, so I can explain to you what I'm trying to do.
Okay, are you going to be, Mr. Chair, involved with the negotiations with GPA?
No, I wanna show Glenn what I'm talking about,
Okay.
because he's already telling me that, they're gonna have access to the property.
I'm not sure if you understood what I was saying. We identified 5 sites that people who are living and occupying homes without power,
Okay,
and that GPA have those 5 sites, and they will choose among those 5 sites where they gonna install
Okay.
those power poles.
Thank you, sir. So
Yeah.
is this part of the 5 sites?
That 319, I don't believe it's one of those, no.
Okay, so tomorrow, if, from the permission of the director, I'll show you the site. You know, I'm trying to finish my presentation, but go ahead, you interrupted, so.
Are those properties that belong to CHamoru Land Trust?
This is
Track
Chamorro
319
Land
is
Trust.
CHamoru Land Trust property, yes.
And they
That's
have
in Cayenne.
leases? with
Yes,
us?
they have leases there.
And
Oh.
they can't get power?
I think what he's saying is that GPA, they've had a I wasn't in on the meeting. They had a discussion on, I guess that's why this map was brought out.
That's another one, that's the second one. See, these are all residential lots, right? So,
Is this one where they want to do the temporary?
Well, this one here is where they want to store their containers, their.
Right,
their
they want us,
container.
and we're supposed to work out an MOU with them. And what they proposed at the last, when they met with us a couple of weeks ago, they came up with what, 5 sites where they could install power, and they have an estimate of how much it's gonna cost to bring power to people who are living in areas, they're living there now, right?
Yes.
In houses with no access to utilities. And they were gonna propose that we could bring the power into.
and there's
these-
residents in that site?
There, are they?
There are people already living there without power.
So let me restate it again, there's residents there?
Can I ask, how many families before GPA can come and put in the power lines? How many is required? In other words, when you apply for power, how many of families can get power in that area? How many families can apply for it?
Anybody can apply for power, so the question is,
CHamoru.
if I'm the individual applying for the power, and I'm the 5th lot furthest away from the nearest power line, so what I'm gonna have to do as the applicant, pay for those number of power poles to get into my place, and that, I would have to pay for those power poles. So to answer your question, at the 5th lot, 4 families will be able to receive power. Who are
Provided they
occupying.
pay.
There's an agreement with GPA and the applicant, well, they'll be reimbursed once the people start connecting to those lines. That's not a COT thing, that's between GPA and the applicant.
I think what again, is anybody living in this area that wants in Agate, in the Pagasa area?
See, this is something that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, well, we
Track
then we have to
319.
check on it.
I know 319, there's power within some areas. There are people living within 319, so like the chairman says, he wants to show me the area where, it was of interest.
What's so sad is, in the old days, when you apply for power, there's no problem, they'll put the pole up and give you the power. Now, you practically have to pay for the power pole.
You do.
You do?
When I installed power lines, it cost me $12,000
See, that's just the whole
to
point.
bring everything in. Then my neighbors hooked up.
First of all, our CHamoru Land Trust people don't have the means
Yeah.
to pay for each power.
And that was in '86 when it cost $12,000. Today, it costs way more than that. So,
And yet GPA is making a lot of money. It's not fair. I mean, there's where the public should get those kind of assistance. At least to put the power pole in.
but they're willing to negotiate for in-kind service. The decision from CLTC is location. Which sites do we want to put it in? What was identified were 5 sites. Now what the chairman is identifying is a 6th site, another site to look at. Where will our tenants or lessees benefit the most? Who can we benefit the most with that? And they were offering up to in kind of a value of about $190,000 worth, rather than leasing the property from us for a lot less.
200.
200,000?
What's on record is 190,000.
190 is what we got on, that was approved, but to start negotiations.
Yeah, but for how many families?
And that's the part that we gotta decide, location.
It's $1 a month. Once they spend it, there's no more freebie.
Right, so the thing is, for us to decide which site, and I get where the chairman is saying there's a site in Pagasa, or in that general area. What Glenn is saying is that there were 5 sites identified already in talks with GPA, but doesn't mean you can't add a number 6 in there and say, here's another location. But what we gotta look at is where the most benefit, like you're saying,
You know,
Commissioner, is, are these people capable of hooking up? Because I don't know, I believe there's a requirement that before you get power, you have to have all other things in place, right? Before you connect up, you just can't apply for power unless you have a building permit that says you're going to build a building or your building is legitimate in that area.
Especially now, it's underground that they require?
no.
No?
No, they're still doing some overhead. I'm assuming this is gonna be overhead, power lines. Underground is when you do subdivisions,
You
but
know-
not like
You know,
this.
Director, my short term here with CLTC, we've allowed GWA access through CLTC land in more than 2 or 3 occasions. We need to use the GPA template, and instead of just giving them the access, that they give us something in kind, because
Yes.
water is more expensive than power.
And it's needed more for life than power. We need water, we could survive without power, but not water. But this is an opportunity, so the decision for the board is, once it comes up with the negotiations, to present to the board, and the board approves it as location. So it's still in your hands, it's just that you wanna add number 6, another location, and that means it will go out and look at the site.
So where's the number 5?
Oh, I presented it last meeting, and everybody provided a copy, but if you need a copy, I can give you another copy.
Yeah, let me have it now.
Give it all.
Yeah, I can give it to you.
So he says
Yeah.
make up, Dexter, make a copy.
Yeah.
Right there, Dexter's doing it already. What's your point?
I'm sorry?
What's your point now? Dexter's gonna get it.
I wanna ask, how can you bring my dad to me?
Oh, no, my
No,
feet is numb, I'm numb.
What's my point? What are you trying to say?
Oh.
You asked me a question and I
We just
answered
added
that.
another site,
Yeah.
number 6, and then of course, the negotiations go forward, already they know 190, and we.
Right, right here, I'm saying.
Make a
If
decision.
if they're willing to give the same amount, right?
Well, the lady that was here representing GPA said they could go as high as 190, we agreed 190 was good. They said that was the highest they would go. And the thing is for us to make a decision on site, so that's the other part now, to
So
negotiate the
go-
MOU. And once we do that, before the MOU goes out, the board gets to approve it, the board makes a final decision. We don't just create the MOU and I sign it, no. It goes to the board approves it, and a selection of sites. So if you want a number 6 site, I'm just saying that when you select the sites, choose the one that we can get most benefit for people that are currently living there. You know, if you got like 30 people here and 1 here, I recommend taking care of the
Yeah.
30. You know, spread the benefit as far as we can. And
So you let us know.
you guys will make that final decision based on the numbers of where we get the most benefit. And, but of course, you could say, open a new subdivision and put in there, nobody lives there. I would recommend where we have people
Well,
staying.
we have already,
And then the other determining factor too might be is, do they qualify for a hookup?
yeah.
You know, I
Do
mean,
they have the means to
the
hook up?
means. Right.
So
So,
319's been developed since 1970.
yeah,
So
I don't know if we have any tenants living there, to be honest with you. I don't know. I know
yeah.
Pagasa,
Right.
but I don't know which site, you know.
Right, and
I
that's
know
why
like a subdivision area.
Right, that's why I wanted to have it pulled out on the map, but. Okay, so you see, So that's what I'm asking, is that we open up where the arrows at,
Yeah, I see it.
and we,
I'd like to open up the easement itself.
right, yeah, well, there's an easement, it's just that, it's got shrubs.
open it, yeah.
Shrubs and,
Because I'm not sure how GPA, the thing is, if they are gonna expect an easement to already be open and just come in and plant the poles, or the cost when you start opening an easement, if that's gonna, of course, that's gonna add to the cost, right?
That's a question for GPA.
Yeah, well, and the total they're saying is 190, no matter which way they do it. But I don't think if they open an easement to put the pole, when they see it, when our poles and the easements, they just clear it, put the pole, and then let the, as long as the line truck can go in, right? And the bucket trucks can go in, they're not gonna go in, and those are big four-wheel drive vehicles, they're not gonna make it smooth necessarily
yeah, no, just
for a
the
regular
access.
vehicle.
Right.
And then,
GPA has access to backhoe, they have backhoe.
oh, yeah, they will do that, I'm just saying they're not going to open the easement, put coral and all that to make it something that you could drive a regular car through. They're gonna make it access for their kids.
And hopefully the public don't dump on it. Yeah,
That is a problem.
yeah.
That is a problem that I found out when ancestral lands opened the easement.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we don't want that, but,
So where do we go from here?
well, the chairman wants to add a number 6 to the list that we already have, of 5, and that's what Glenn A. was saying, is that we have some 5 sites identified, but the chairman has identified
And that one was
sites.
discussed during our,
The last meeting, yes, GPA came in here.
right, okay, so that's,
Yeah, I didn't bring that in because that topic was already covered. I didn't know we're gonna go back to it. And it was here when they were here, well, the representative from GPA was here. And they felt that that was a quicker way to get in, because they had previous talks with Joey Cruz and Glenn.
Okay.
I was in another, probably like I've been back-to-back meetings, right?
okay, and then,
That I was unable to attend that one, so they went in my behalf.
So what side is number 6?
this one?
This Pagacha, I get,
Oh,
going
yeah.
to your site, right?
Right, yeah.
I know that area, I just don't know where the CLT is. I know that,
From the
The subdivision.
subdivision, that's what I'm saying, is that
Right.
there's homes that are there, and then all the lots here. No. Do we have a problem here? Do we need to call the security?
there's a problem, I don't,
It's cool.
yeah.
Okay, so if you look at the lots here, right, there's 211, and these guys have been given a lease since back in '95.
Okay.
So the point here is that if we can start opening up the access, and we had this plan since last year with Joey, and when Tina was that, Alice was here.
Okay.
But apparently they transferred the money that was gonna be used to open up the access where that arrow's at.
Yeah, so, okay, was this the ARP funds or something that was gonna use it?
No, it was funds that we had in the account according to Joey.
Oh, yeah, it was
Yeah.
transferred out?
Right, so the reason why I was asking if you can get GPA involved in this one is that, they have a clearing crew, they can clear, access sites to the rights of way.
Okay.
Utility rights of way.
Why is it unregistered on the map?
Oh,
It's,
unregistered?
Yeah, I can barely read this thing.
it says unregistered.
Oh, that's a lot 453. This is track 319. 453 is another lot. You see that? A different lot. This is the lot that was developed, that was subdivided. This
Were
one.
you able to get the one from the 5 lots that were identified to the GPA?
So where's that now?
Yes, there is,
Well, they want a copy. So you could- It's in the packet. Do they have their packet right now?
no, we have the old packet from that is the January 18.
Is it in there?
Yes, sir.
Do they have it right now?
I don't,
Check if it's in their packet or what.
You're talking about the last meeting or?
Yeah, the one where the GPA was here, making
Right.
the presentation.
Yeah. So what I understand from last GPH, right, is that we're gonna barter some sort of a service for the property.
Yeah, they agreed on, we
Right.
accepted the 190.
Yeah, so the reason why I had this, because this is the 211 lots. And,
Is that the same thing as this?
no, this is 3190.
GPA is in the right side of it.
This now is up in the Jibo area.
Right.
And this is in Agate.
Correct.
Yes.
But this is not about the GPA, this is about this lots, the 211. We want to start either
Director.
doing an RFP to have a subdivision work done.
So this is not about GPA, this one.
No, just to get a subdivision on this one, because this one was prepared for a subdivision and development, but it was
Okay.
It died,
But
go ahead.
I'm really
again,
sorry.
on the agenda,
I'm really
Oh.
sorry. I want to see what, this map is not the map that I have here.
Oh, this one you mean?
Yes.
Oh,
And you're jumping from this to that?
oh, no, we're done with this one. For the GPA to come in and open up the road.
so you want GPA to open this one?
If they, if they can.
They mentioned the linear feet of how far they could go. I don't think it's enough to
Okay.
open all of this 190,000.
Either that or for our group to start requesting either DPW or right where the arrow's at. And again,
Okay, because this would take a lot of surveying. I know that when I just did, it cost about 90,000 that land management told me to survey and do lots for 102 acres. They ran about that much. And they're not
the lots have
finished.
been already surveyed.
They have been?
It's a subdivision.
Okay.
It used to be land for the land lease.
Also, this is already surveyed property?
Right, and all the lots have been issued leases.
So not related to the GPA, this one at all? I just thought so because this is where the location, where they wanted to,
Yeah.
where they wanted to stage their generators. I thought this was
Right.
the GPA,
Yeah, and right across is that's the 144 lots.
Yes, sir, I'm not saying the back.
Okay. Yeah, if you look at page 2, right, the five sites, they're all in Leviton and Milao and Chico.
so you want to also include agate?
Well,
So-
if we can, because this is a 211 lots subdivided. And,
But are there, okay, it talks about here, if you look at it, right, what's the most expensive one? Just say the one close to 190 is site number 4, right?
yes,
It tells you the estimated line length in feet, 3,000 feet, for about 20 spans, at $8,000 per span, $160,000. So when you're thinking of that, the estimated line length,
so each span is a pole, is that what it is?
yes,
No,
not a pole?
Well, I don't know.
each span is the distance from one pole to the next adjoining pole.
Yeah, that's,
It's
I
a
think what,
span.
That's a span.
the
not-
span between the
not-
poles,
Not based
not the
on the
length,
pole.
not the length of the pole.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm asking out of ignorance.
That's what I thought you're asking is,
Oh,
yeah, you have one pole here, you have one pole here, that's a span.
So one span would be 2 poles, something like that?
The length between two.
Yeah,
It's how many feet?
How many feet?
okay.
So they can go an estimated 20 spans.
Yeah, I see.
For 160,000, that means like 21 poles.
Okay,
And if you look at what you're talking about here, that won't go far into that.
yeah.
The question is, how many families is it gonna provide power to?
And that's why they were looking, this is the benefit to families, to individuals already currently living there.
Which two? Yeah,
That's what I'm saying is being taken into consideration.
okay.
We could look at this other one and see, and then determine if that's correct, but, I mean, if there's more people to benefit there, but you gotta think about it. 20 spans, if you go up another span, maybe it's 190,000 already. That's about 21 poles, 20 to 21 poles you're gonna put up.
Okay,
Each pole is capable of serving 4 homes.
So 4 homes,
Approximately, yeah.
Yeah.
so that's 80, based on the 20 spans?
But,
Yeah.
okay, these numbers you're looking at
Yeah.
is just for the span, okay?
Yeah,
It's not for the transformers or the drop lines,
It's not for clearing.
and it's not for clearing either.
And but that's what the chairman's saying, is that for them to open the easement, I'm gonna say that's an extra cost.
yeah.
yeah,
And I remember that when I opened about a half mile, 3/4 miles, that was a huge cost just for surveying services, and then.
And another cost we're gonna have to look at to incorporate is the property's already surveyed, right?
yes.
But
This
there's no access to the properties.
Yes.
That's what I was understanding, the access, you didn't want them to open the access.
Right, and the access here to something about maybe 8 ironwood tree. Once you open that, it's all sword grass. That's why I'm saying,
No,
right?
but another cost you're gonna have to look at is retracement for the right of way.
Okay, so we'll just table this. We're okay.
Well, it's something that's why I said that the final decision will be up to the board. I mean, could look at it, see if it's feasible here. What I'm saying is to look at where we get the most benefit from
Right.
this. For the individuals out there, not for ourselves.
You guys have to do the research.
Right?
Yes,
Then
and that's
come
why
back to
they
us.
got several sites that
Yeah.
we're looking at. We could add in number 6
Yeah.
to
We
look
can
at the
add it
6th
in.
site.
That 290,000, I don't know if it'll be enough for one subdivision.
I know it's not 200, it's 190.
Or 100.
It's a lot less.
190,
190, so it's not really,
like you
You know, if
said.
you're gonna
Um,
take into consideration clearing, because they could probably clear it for us, but we don't know what rate they're gonna charge us.
right, that's.
But it's also gonna entail retracement, because they have to plot out where the right of way is. Because it's
Yes,
overgrown right now.
right.
I
And-
think we have to go to site 2.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We need to put some visual on it because, we can sit here and.
And, no, but that's why they're, I mean, Joey Cruz will be out until tomorrow, he'll be returning Friday.
Yeah,
I guess it was a death and he's.
Yeah, I understand,
So the thing is, he can't be here, he attended the meeting, but the GPA representative came in.
and that's why I was asking for, because normally Glenn would follow us on our site.
Yeah.
So
But,
because Joe is not available, so if he's available tomorrow, no, but it's okay, you can cancel it because.
Yeah, and, this is something I know GPA wants to move on, and it's up to the board now, based on whatever recommendations that the staff give, to select the best site. And I'm saying to select the best site where we actually have people living in their homes. And that means that they probably already have access roads into their places.
Yes, and you're right, because, to get access here, people are cutting across, just like the way Swamp Road,
Yeah,
and before they,
yeah, I know, because I've seen that issue before with people doing that. I've developed property personally that after I opened up, then everybody went
Right.
backward, right?
Have we gotten all the monies that we were earmarked for by the legislature and by the governor's office?
For the loan guarantees?
Yeah.
That's what I was told, that we did receive it, according to Joe.
All of it?
I'm assuming we received all of it. I can follow up with him on that.
because we got initially $1 million from the legislature, right? Then we got 4 million from the governor's office, and then didn't the legislature give us an additional 6 million?
No, it was 6 million, what's that, 5,600,000 total that we have. The sum is from previous.
So that then is the money that came from the governor's office and the initial 1 million from the legislature.
That's what we have.
I thought the legislature gave us addition.
We could try to ask for more.
And how many recipients? We have 25, right? LU, I was at 25
Applicants, yeah.
applicants, and then there's 5
And
more that
there'll
came in.
probably be more coming in because, we use 50% of the loan guarantee, so we can still take in more,
So I understand there was 5 that came in, additional,
possibly.
Yeah.
I'd have to call in the land agents. but-
right? And they tabled the 5 until the first 25 is done. That's what we got from the last meeting. So because it's a disaster loan, if you can double check if we can start.
Oh, for the disaster, yeah, but
The other
there are those like, I believe it was Delphin, that's not disaster.
Delphi was the first one, yeah. One house,
Yeah.
something, one house.
So,
And then we finished 11.
I'm lost.
yeah, I don't have my numbers in front of me.
Okay.
I don't have the numbers.
And
I
then the
had
last
them
one we had was Joe Kinata.
Oh, that, I don't know if he's gonna.
Yeah, remember we approved Joe Kinata,
Yeah,
and then we approved Tony Cruz.
and Joe has to come in, I believe, with, because we did make a motion, and he has to be at the agenda.
No, we
so
tabled his motion to the February
To
meeting.
the 15th, yeah,
For
that's
the
what I
purchase.
remember. And that's for we could have done it in the beginning, but he didn't want until he got his blueprints. But now that he's got that, now he's gonna come back a second time. Unlike the others were approved on condition they do certain things, then they get their building, right? Kanaka didn't want that, he wanted to return, so he's coming back.
Yeah,
For the motion
were-
to start building, right? He could have done it all in one sweep, but
were you able to get information from Mr. Kanakas?
on this thing, according to what we found is, we've done it under both, but it always had the person applying, that the plans would be under their name. But we have some plans where it also says properties owned by CHamoru Land Trust and then their name below it. So I would say that we don't necessarily have to require that COTC be on it, but I believe that's probably the best way to put COTC and then the one with the building, just have both on.
Yeah, so one,
But it's not necessarily
Mr.
required.
Chair, on those 5 or 6 subdivisions that you were alluding to, which is the oldest?
on this subdivision,
Yeah.
I don't, well, this would be the oldest.
Okay, so maybe that's where we start
From the
focusing our
oldest.
GPA.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right?
As I said, we added
Yeah.
number 6.
And that's why I'm trying to share with Glenn, right? If that was the preliminary plan, right? This is, the 211, which is the oldest.
Yeah.
But see, this 211 was part of the land for the land list, and that's why I keep saying, right, we have to understand the prerequisite to understand land for the land list. Was that your question?
Land
No.
for the land list?
My question is, whatever funds we get for in-kind with GPA,
Oh.
we apply it to the oldest
Subdivision?
subdivision that hasn't been developed.
There, man, this is why
Well,
I'm,
Fine, that's fine.
okay.
Can
But
I
that's my proposal, next, we
Okay.
hit the oldest
Good,
and
yeah.
start bringing things up to the future.
But land for the land list, those were lands that were purchased by individuals.
Good point. Now,
It's not a CHamoru Land Trust
yeah,
property.
here,
So that's questionable.
this is 3-phase development. Phase number 1 was Pagacha, phase number 2 is the middle, phase number 3 is Uman. So phase number 1, it was sold, about 10 lots. And then we protested in 1995. So what we did is that we repealed the law for land for the land list, we repealed. And we had all these lots transferred from the Land for the Land Use program to Chamorro Land Trust. But it was originally subdivided for Land for the Land Use, but we protested to stop it and repeal. So Land for the Land Use on this
So it
one.
never became a land for the land
No,
use?
out of the Land for the Land Use, about 10 lots were sold at 2005.
Is that the 10 down there?
Yes, here, on this
The
side.
one there, right?
Yeah, some of them on this side, but then the rest were,
So as, if they were land for the land lease owners, they should be the one to apply for
Only
It's
GPA.
private now.
only
Yeah.
10. The 211 is land trust, it was transferred.
Well, anyway, you have to check that out.
We'll check it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
at
land-
least
If you wanna add in
Yeah.
a number 6 location to start looking at it, then we get.
Yeah, identify whether it really is
But
ours or is,
This is gonna take a lot more money, and, well, it's not even on the agenda to work on this one yet. We should include that if you want, but,
Okay.
if we're to open this, does this have any, are you aware, because I'm not aware if this has leases on it.
No, this is the one that was supposed to be developed for both power, water, sewer, and the home. There was an RFI, but anyway, we'll get the packet on that.
Yeah, this one here, it's gonna take a lot more money than what GPA is
No.
offering us in kind.
Now, what Commissioner Verdad is asking about this one, all the lots that were here are provided leases. Everybody, all of them have leases under the Chamorro Land Trust, not Land for the Land Use. The Land for the Land Use have title.
right. So if those, if they are under someone's name and not a Chamorro Land Trust, owner, then we are not gonna spend money for the land for the land use people that own the land.
Own title.
They own title, they should go and apply and pay for the fee, not Chamorro Land Trust system.
Okay, so,
Do the research and make sure whether it's ours or theirs.
It's just that these ones have already been, so.
so these are, it's okay. We're just trying to spread the benefit to the south also.
Well, the benefits already there, but got so, they have,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's why I'm doing 319, because it's right next to Pagonsao, next to the marina, and it's a developable area. But again, and that's what I'm trying to share with Mr. Glenn, is that this is an addition to the five.
Glenn just does the research, decisions made by the board.
Yeah.
And him and the other land agent will come up with,
I think it should be researched on that.
yeah.
Now this,
But, GPA is gonna want something soon. I don't know how long it'll take
Well,
to get this done.
you would have to
But
figure
we
that
can
out.
work, yeah, we
And
can
let us
work that
know.
out with the negotiations, but,
okay, so you guys want to make a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn. I need to leave.
yeah.
I second.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So what do I have to say now?
All in favor, say aye.
Say aye.
And the time is 4:03.
Times 4.
Okay. I believe that when you make a motion to adjourn and I second it, it's a done deal.
Okay, but I still
That's
need
all
to
right.
say that, no,
You can do that.
we're already finished? Oh,
Yes.